The sudden shutdown of airspace over El Paso, Texas, has raised widespread questions. After authorities halted all flights in and out of El Paso International Airport for 10 days. The Federal Aviation Administration ordered a complete ground stop beginning at 6:30 and restricted aircraft within a 10-mile radius around the airport, extending into parts of southern New Mexico near the Mexican border. The restriction is unusually strict. No commercial, private, military, law enforcement, or medical evacuation aircraft are permitted within the zone. At roughly the same time, unusual reports began to circulate. Some pilots claim to have encountered unidentified craft moving at extraordinary speeds, reportedly up to 4 times faster than an F-22 fighter jet. Witnesses on the ground also described seeing a large object hovering near the airport. What initially appeared to be a small dot in the sky was said to be far larger when viewed more closely. One local observer recorded footage of the object just hours before the shutdown. The witness said it emitted a strange beam or light directed toward the airport before disappearing. Although these sightings remain unconfirmed, their timing has fueled speculation about what might have prompted the closure. Aviation analyst Mary Schiavo, former Inspector General at the United States Department of Transportation, emphasized how rare such a sweeping restriction is. She noted that the United States has not closed airspace for security reasons on this scale since the attacks of September 11, 2001. According to Schiavo, a shutdown of this magnitude usually requires credible intelligence indicating a serious threat to aircraft or people on the ground. The notice to airmen issued by the Federal Aviation Administration contains unusually strong language, warning that the United States government may use deadly force against any aircraft considered an imminent threat. Schiavo explained that such wording typically appears only in extreme circumstances, such as near sensitive military facilities or during major national security emergencies. Officials have released little information about the cause of the closure. Even the Federal Aviation Administration staff member responsible for issuing the notice reportedly said he did not know the reason, suggesting the details may be limited to officials with high-level security clearance. In situations involving classified intelligence, critical information is often shared only among a small group of federal agencies. The restricted airspace also overlaps with nearby military areas, which could provide a possible explanation. While the Federal Aviation Administration sometimes imposes restrictions for military exercises or law enforcement operations, it can also respond to intelligence warnings about potential threats that have not yet occurred. The 10-day duration suggests authorities believe a risk could arise during that period, even if the exact timing remains uncertain. Local journalist Robert Moore, founder of the independent outlet El Paso Matters, reported that the decision surprised both local government leaders and military officials in the region, who appeared not to have been briefed beforehand. Airlines have already begun canceling flights to and from the city. The impact of the shutdown is expected to be significant. El Paso is the 23rd largest city in the United States and a major part of a cross-border economic region connected with Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. Grounding all aircraft disrupts passenger travel, cargo shipments, and industries that rely heavily on air freight. Despite growing speculation online, aviation analysts caution against concluding without verified information. While unusual sightings have been reported, experts note that large-scale airspace closures are typically based on national security assessments rather than isolated events. For now, the situation remains largely unexplained, leaving both the public and local officials uncertain about the reason behind one of the most extensive aviation security measures implemented in decades. And just when you think this was the first place and for the first time, you're wrong. Back in 2024, a pilot secretly recorded a video of a strange orb hovering over the tarmac at Manchester Airport in the United Kingdom. After the footage spread online, other witnesses said they had seen the same object. The sighting drew more attention when Donald Trump said pilots described a round object that was neither a comet nor a meteor, and appeared to move about 4 times faster than an F-22 fighter jet. Some photos also showed the orb hovering just above the ground, before suddenly shooting back into the sky. Similar brief and unexplained sightings have been reported for years, often appearing and disappearing with little explanation. On July 7, 2010, things got pretty wild at Shiaan International Airport. An anonymous local was filming these glowing lights floating above the street when one suddenly shot down towards the ground. The person filming sounded freaked out, saying that the light grabbed someone and then zoomed back up. The original post claimed that the person who went missing was never found. There's no official report confirming anyone was abducted, but the video spread like crazy. Some folks think it showed a real UFO sighting. Even the airport authorities seemed shaken and suggested there was definitely something going on at the airport. In September 2025, Aalborg Airport had to shut down for hours after several drones were spotted flying in restricted airspace. This all happened just days after a similar incident at Copenhagen Airport, which really ramped up tensions in Danish aviation. While some officials, including people in the defense sector, suggested there might be foreign involvement, a lot of locals weren't buying it. It's pretty rare for flights to get grounded for a long time just because of drone sightings, which has led to some speculation that these weren't exactly drones, but something a lot creepier: UFOs. Drone sightings across the tri-state area have increased over the past 2 weeks, with more than 3,000 reports in New Jersey alone. As sightings continue without explanation, local and state officials are growing impatient and are urging authorities to destroy any drones considered a threat. In 2024, widespread drone reports in New Jersey and nearby areas also raised concerns, even causing delays at New York Stewart International Airport. While officials said many sightings were misidentified planes, some incidents prompted temporary shutdowns. More than 5,000 tips were sent to the FAA, and some witnesses claimed the objects moved in ways that did not resemble normal aircraft, raising questions about what was actually in the sky. On November 19, 2019, a white, unidentified object disrupted operations at Imphal International Airport. Witnesses described it performing unusual maneuvers near the runway and control tower, leading to flight suspensions for more than 3 hours. Some suggested it might have been a drone, yet its lingering presence and flight behavior puzzled observers. Despite investigations lasting well beyond the incident, no clear explanation was publicly confirmed. The event added to the growing list of airport encounters, where something unidentified briefly takes control of controlled airspace. Michelle Reyes was filming the New York City skyline from her plane window while flying with her daughter when she captured a cylinder-shaped object rapidly crossing her line of sight near LaGuardia Airport. The object moved unusually fast, resembling the Tic-Tac UFOs often seen in online footage, and did not appear to be a bird, bug, or typical drone. Concerned it might pose a safety hazard, Reyes emailed the Federal Aviation Administration, but received no response. She later submitted the footage to Enigma Labs and the National UFO Database for further review. New footage from 2019 appears to show a white, disc-shaped object hovering in midair over an airport in Chicago. The object remained in one spot near the runway and was clearly visible, yet there were no reported disruptions to airport operations. That is what makes the sighting unusual. Some viewers wonder how an object like this could appear over a major airport without drawing more official attention. Since it remained visible long enough to be recorded, questions have been raised about what the object might have been and whether it was ever formally identified. Back in 2015, a passenger plane reportedly vanished mid-air, and the reason didn't seem out of this world. Witness footage showed multiple glowing orbs moving around the aircraft. They circled it for a few moments, then suddenly, the plane and the orbs disappeared together. It looked like the entire aircraft had been taken. Until today, there has been no clear trace of that plane. The entire event suggests a possibility far beyond ordinary aviation mysteries. On March 11, 2021, in Bangkok, a guy was filming a helicopter when he spotted a fast-moving object zooming by really close. It looked bigger than a drone and was moving super quickly. Authorities mentioned that there were no radar signals picked up at the time. This close encounter got people talking, with theories ranging from secret military gadgets to some advanced tech we don't know about. The fact that there was no radar confirmation only fueled more speculation about how something so visible could be invisible on radar. Late at night, when most of Recife, Brazil, was quiet, a strange red glow caught one local's attention. It was a glowing object he still cannot explain. It didn't look like a plane. It appeared as a red ball rising straight up from the ground. The sighting happened in the northern zone of Recife, where there is an airport nearby, but it clearly wasn't any aircraft. The way it lifted into the sky made the whole moment feel unsettling and mysterious. In 2020, some footage came out showing what looked like a saucer-shaped craft flying over a city, with two helicopters flying alongside it. The object had a flashing white light underneath, making it seem like it was using some kind of advanced technology. A lot of people started guessing it could be a secret government project, especially with the military-style escort. Others thought that the craft's smooth flight and weird shape hinted at something not recognized by the public. But honestly, seeing that escort-style flight and the helicopters hanging around, netizens were left wondering if this was some classified tech or something totally out of the ordinary. Russia has accidentally violated European airspace 3 times in 2 weeks, heightening concern as unusual aerial sightings near Copenhagen and Oslo previously disrupted flights and raised speculation about foreign involvement. In response, NATO increased surveillance across Eastern Europe through its Eastern Sentry missions, conducting near-daily monitoring along the eastern flank since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Although officials described the objects as drones and flights have resumed normally, repeated airspace breaches and the uncertainty surrounding these sightings have fueled concerns that more advanced aircraft may be operating over major cities. A viral video showed this weird tentacled thing just floating in the sky, which totally freaked people out around the globe, with long strands dangling beneath it. It looked like a giant jellyfish drifting way up high. Some folks thought it was a strange creature we'd never seen before, while others figured it was just an odd object being tossed around by the wind. The way it hovered and twisted in the air made it seem almost alive. Marine life is supposed to be in the ocean, so seeing something like that chilling in the sky really got people's imaginations running wild, blending the lines between something natural and an unexplained mystery. A pilot filmed a strange object gliding smoothly through the sky from an aircraft window. Although it first appeared to be debris, the footage showed it moving in a steady, controlled straight line. The video sparked online debate about whether unidentified aerial phenomena must have the typical disc shape, or if other unusual shapes could be flying unnoticed over commercial air traffic. Back in 2002, folks in Catemaco spotted a weird acorn-shaped object slowly drifting through the sky. The craft was moving at a chill pace, almost like it was taking its time to check things out below. Mexico has a long history of strange sightings in the sky, and this sighting only added to that reputation. Some people were convinced it was proof of advanced alien technology, while others thought it could be a remote-controlled gadget. Its smooth movement and unique shape kept the conversation going, making many wonder if it was some secret project or something straight out of a sci-fi movie. A worker fixing a signal tower near Chicago caught some quick footage of a huge disc hovering above the clouds. The thing looked like it was glowing and just hung there, watching the airport below. Even though the video was short, it brought back talks about weird flying stuff popping up near air traffic areas. Some folks think it might be secret surveillance tech, while others wonder if it's something from outer space. The size and location of the object over a big city only added to the intrigue. A passenger flying into Zurich Airport managed to capture some footage of the landscape below when something zoomed past the plane at an insane speed. The object disappeared almost right away. Officials claimed they didn't know of any small planes nearby, which just fueled more speculation. Was it just a distant craft that lined up perfectly in the shot, or was it something more mysterious that goes beyond what we know about aviation? This footage from Sarasota Airport in October 2023 is striking. Someone recorded a metallic sphere hovering in broad daylight above the runway where planes typically land. Filming something unusual near an active airport raises obvious questions. Air traffic control monitors radar continuously, yet the object's identity remains unclear. While some viewers speculate about what it could be, the video mainly highlights how unexplained aerial sightings can still generate debate and curiosity. At Georgia Tech, someone recorded a circular object hovering with a beam of light beneath it. Witnesses said it was only visible from certain angles or lower viewpoints. Because the sighting happened on a busy campus, the footage drew attention, especially since few other recordings appeared. The beam and the way the object seemed to hover led to online speculation about possible explanations, ranging from unusual lighting effects to experimental technology. Whether it was an optical illusion or something still unidentified, the short clip continues to leave viewers curious. During a military flyover in Mexico back in September 2025, a spectator was focused on the jets zooming overhead when something else unexpected caught the attention of viewers. Later on in the footage, a sleek object zipped by the aircraft, moving way too smoothly to just be random debris. Once the clip was shared, it went viral, sparking all sorts of theories, from it being an advanced craft to some kind of visual glitch. Supporters of the sighting argue that the object's controlled movement rules out a simple camera mistake, leaving us wondering if something unidentified was actually sharing the sky for a moment. Residents in Singapore were surprised when deep blue lights began glowing through thick clouds, lighting up large parts of the night sky. The light appeared to pulse gently, creating the impression that something unusual was happening above the clouds. Some people speculated it could be an unknown object, while others suggested it might be atmospheric reflections or a large light display. Whether it was a rare atmospheric phenomenon or a man-made lighting effect, the unusual sight left many people wondering about its cause. A clip from Kazakhstan showed several bright lights clustered in one area of the sky, sparking widespread discussion online. The glow remained mostly in the same spot, leading many people to wonder what might have caused it. Some viewers suggested it could be lights from a nearby ski resort or another ground source reflecting into the sky, while others focused on how unusual the concentrated glow appeared. Because the lights stayed visible for a while and were limited to a small part of the sky, the video continued to attract attention and debate about possible explanations. A simple window recording during a 2017 flight captured something extraordinary. As the passenger filmed outside, a shiny disc-shaped object appeared close to the plane, drifting downward in a steady line. It looked solid and metallic, not like a reflection or illusion. There was no trail, no sudden turn, and no sound at all. Its movement seemed planned and controlled. Then, just as the camera tried to lock onto it, it disappeared instantly, clearly behaving unlike any normal aircraft. Last year, a worker at Manchester Airport saw something unusual late at night. A tiny orb floating silently above the runway. It stayed in place for a while watching the airport below, then eventually disappeared into the sky. He captured the moment on video, but soon after, he was fired from his job. Whether this was just a coincidence or something more, the way authorities reacted suggests there might be hidden forces keeping such sightings quiet, and it raises serious questions about what really happens in the skies above. Back in 2017, a photographer was trying to capture a shot of a Mexican airport when something strange appeared high in the sky. At first, a single glowing light caught his eye, looking almost like a portal forming. Then, dozens of glowing objects appeared, unlike anything normal. No drones, no known aircraft. It seemed like a group of objects from outer space, but no one knows why they were there or what they really were. The flight started like any other, but then he noticed something unusual outside the window. A UFO hovered silently behind the plane, its presence impossible to ignore. He felt really scared and quickly stopped recording. After a tense few moments, it drifted away as quietly as it appeared. And he was left stunned, speechless, and thinking about what he had just witnessed long after landing. A man in Brazil noticed something strange in the sky, a mysterious glowing object. Its shape wasn't clear at first, and when he zoomed in, it looked a bit like a meteor. But unlike a meteor, it stayed in one spot, its glow steady and unblinking. The man couldn't figure out what it was. It wasn't moving, and nothing nearby explained it. Whatever it wasn't ordinary, and its quiet, still presence in the sky made the whole sighting feel completely unusual. A man sitting by the window spotted unusual lights in the sky above the clouds. At first, they seemed like small, distant glows, but soon he understood it was a fleet of UFOs moving smoothly and silently together. They hovered above the clouds, completely ignoring the world below. The whole scene felt otherworldly. There was no doubt in his mind that these objects were not normal aircraft. They moved with purpose and control that no human-made craft could match. In Florida, people noticed something strange hovering in the sky. Its shape wasn't clear, but multiple lights blinked across it. Some thought it was just a drone, but others said the movement and size didn't match any drone they had seen. Officials gave no update, which only added to the curiosity. This object clearly wasn't ordinary. Whatever it was, it didn't behave like anything humans usually fly, and it hints at something unusual happening above our skies. While flying high above the clouds, a passenger noticed something he couldn't believe. 3 enormous, glowing UFOs drifting silently. Their massive forms peeked through the clouds, and their gentle lights shone steadily as if scanning the world below. They didn't move fast, just floated slowly, giving the impression of quiet watchers in the sky. It was one of those rare moments that make you wonder what's really out there, beyond everything we can see. In a small Russian town, a sudden crash shook the area, and authorities quickly sealed it off. Experts, scientists, and secret services rushed in. It was a UFO crash. But most surprisingly, an alien was seen there, which officials casually took away as if they had been in contact before. It looked like they were protecting it rather than capturing it. If Russia can have this kind of interaction, it makes you wonder, why haven't we heard of the US being in touch with aliens the same way? Late one night on April 30th, a bright object streaked across the sky over several western states, before a Las Vegas family reported it crashing into their backyard with a small shockwave. 2 brothers and their father said they then saw large, unusual creatures near the crash site, leaving the family shaken. The object later disappeared, but a round mark remained in the soil. Police investigated the report, and witnesses also noticed unidentified vehicles with government plates passing by the house. Back in 2008, something happened in Mexico that made it feel like an alien invasion was about to begin. In the middle of the night, a huge glowing object appeared, shining intensely. Suddenly, it fired a laser beam, and a portal started opening in the sky. At first, it seemed like countless UFOs would come through, but instead, the object and the portal vanished together. Could it have been a UFO returning to its own dimension? Honestly, whatever it was clearly not from our world. Back in 2009, Los Angeles witnessed something truly strange in the sky. At first, the object stayed still for a few moments. Then, it started flying across the entire area. It had a winged airplane-like shape, but nothing like a normal drone. It seemed to be observing everything below. After a while, it simply vanished. Everyone watching was convinced it wasn't from this world. Could this really have been something from outer space, silently scanning the city before disappearing into the night? During Dubai's New Year's fireworks, a white disc appeared above the city and vanished almost instantly. In another recording, a glowing sphere approaches a military aircraft, and seconds later, both the object and the plane disappear, without leaving a single trace. These are hovering discs inside clouds, glowing orbs dancing in formation, metallic crafts found where no aircraft could land. Let's uncover the most unsettling UFO sightings ever captured on video. At the very beginning of the year, Dubai found itself linked to a peculiar and widely discussed moment in the sky. During the New Year's Eve celebrations, while fireworks illuminated the skyline, a small white disc reportedly appeared above the city. The object did not resemble any conventional drone known to observers, and witnesses described its presence as extremely brief, materializing and vanishing almost instantaneously, much like a sudden flash of light. Subsequent explanations from NASA attributed the sighting to fragments of a falling satellite re-entering the atmosphere. However, many skywatchers expressed that the object's movement appeared sharp, deliberate, and far too rapid to be consistent with uncontrolled debris. If these observations accurately reflected what occurred, the event could place Dubai among the growing list of locations associated with unexplained aerial sightings. In November 2025, an unusual sight in Nevada drew the attention of a passing driver who noticed a cloud behaving in a manner that defied expectation. Rather than drifting naturally with the wind, the formation remained fixed in place, creating an unsettling contrast with the surrounding sky. As the observation continued, a more perplexing detail emerged. Behind the cloud's thin cover, the outline of a massive disc-shaped structure became visible. The object appeared to hover in complete stillness, its enormous form partially concealed within the cloud layer, suggesting that the stationary cloud might have been masking something far more unusual above the landscape. In West Lothian, Scotland, residents reported a strange aerial display unfolding above a quiet neighborhood. On November 7th, a cluster of glowing orbs appeared in the night sky, hovering in near silence while emitting a soft, rhythmic pulsing of light. Witnesses described their movement as coordinated and fluid, with the object shifting positions in patterns that resembled a carefully choreographed dance rather than random motion. In the days that followed, unsettling rumors began circulating within the community, suggesting that several residents had suddenly gone missing. Despite growing concern and speculation, authorities offered no clear explanation regarding either the unusual lights in the sky or the reports of disappearances, leaving the incident surrounded by uncertainty and unanswered questions. A video from Russia began circulating widely after a hiker trekking through a frozen, snow-covered landscape encountered something deeply unusual ahead on the trail. Resting silently in the snow was a massive metallic disc, its surface smooth, unblemished, and strikingly symmetrical. The object appeared almost pristine against the stark white surroundings, with no visible tracks, impact marks, or signs of damage that might explain how such a structure had arrived there. Not long after the video was uploaded online, it gained attention, and military officials released a statement claiming that the disc belonged to an experimental project. However, before investigators or curious observers could reach the location to verify the claim, the object had already been removed from the site without public notice, leaving the circumstances surrounding its appearance unresolved and surrounded by speculation. In 2025, a man recording the sky captured footage of a strange object moving overhead while trailing a thick stream of smoke. The object bore little resemblance to any conventional aircraft, and its movement appeared irregular and unstable, as though it were struggling to maintain controlled flight. Soon afterward, the video spread rapidly across online platforms, prompting widespread speculation and a surge of competing theories about what had been recorded. Some reports suggested that the object may have come down somewhere nearby, followed by claims that the surrounding area was quickly restricted from public access. Despite the growing attention and curiosity surrounding the incident, no clear or official explanation has ever been provided, and the absence of a definitive response has only helped keep the story circulating and debated long afterward. A recently released video recorded near Lake Bohinj in Slovenia has captured significant attention after leaving many viewers both fascinated and unsettled. The footage, filmed on November 18th by a local mountaineer, reveals a dark, disc-shaped object suspended silently above the valley. Rather than remaining stationary, these rings rotated independently around the object, accelerating and slowing at varying speeds, as though each ring operated according to its own mechanism. Some analysts have suggested that the luminous structures might represent more than simple lighting effects, proposing instead that they could indicate some form of spatial distortion or controlled energy field surrounding the craft. No commercial flights or known military activities were reported in the area that night, which has only deepened the mystery. Footage recorded in 1996 at White Sands, New Mexico, showed a glowing object flying unusually low across the landscape, moving in a manner that appeared unstable and unlike the controlled flight patterns typically associated with known aircraft or test vehicles. As the object descended in an apparent attempt to land, it struck the sandy terrain and broke apart upon impact. Within hours, government officials arrived at the location and announced that the incident involved debris from a failed rocket test. Despite this explanation, many observers remained unconvinced. The object's shape and flight behavior did not appear to match the characteristics of standard rocket tests conducted in the region. Further confusion arose when authorities abruptly closed off the surrounding area, a location that had previously remained open to visitors daily, prompting continued speculation about what had truly occurred. This sighting is frequently described as one of the most convincing ever recorded. A shop owner standing outside captured footage of two jets flying side by side across the sky, their formation appearing entirely routine at first. The scene remained unremarkable until the moon, visible behind them, suddenly accelerated upward and disappeared from view with startling speed. Some observers proposed that the object may not have been the moon at all, but rather something designed to resemble it. According to this interpretation, the jets appeared to escort the object along a controlled path, as though ensuring that it exited the area without incident. If that possibility were accurate, the event would suggest the existence of technology capable of blending seamlessly into familiar celestial imagery, making its presence far more difficult to detect. As a military aircraft approached the final stages of its landing, an individual on the ground began recording what initially appeared to be a routine maneuver. The aircraft descended steadily, maintaining a normal trajectory, until a glowing sphere suddenly appeared in the air near the plane, its bright light contrasting sharply against the sky. Within seconds, the luminous object moved closer to the aircraft, drawing near until its light seemed to envelop the plane entirely. In a moment that unfolded almost too quickly to process, both the sphere and the aircraft vanished from sight. Subsequent searches reported no wreckage, debris, or physical evidence that might explain the disappearance. The absence of any trace raised troubling questions, particularly because current scientific understanding offers no clear mechanism capable of causing an entire aircraft to vanish in mid-air without leaving evidence behind. The mystery deepened further when later remarks from officials subtly suggested that forces beyond human control might have played a role in the event. Visitors inside the Great Sphinx reported a disturbing experience that altered their perception of the ancient monument and its hidden mysteries. While exploring areas within the structure, witnesses described seeing deep red lights glowing from somewhere inside the stone interior. These lights were accompanied by unfamiliar sounds that did not resemble the operation of any known machinery or modern equipment. As word of the incident spread, speculation quickly followed, and some observers proposed darker possibilities. One theory suggested that the Sphinx may have served as a concealed meeting point where authorities conducted secret encounters with beings believed to originate beyond Earth. Given the long-standing speculation linking ancient archaeological sites with unexplained visitors or advanced knowledge, many considered the idea unusual yet not entirely implausible. In Lake Havasu, Arizona, a bystander captured footage of an unusual object moving high across the sky, drawing immediate attention due to its unusual appearance and motion. While observing the scene, the witness estimated that the object had reached an altitude of roughly 3,000 feet, remarking with surprise at the sight unfolding overhead. The recorded footage revealed a metallic disc reflecting sunlight as it traveled, its smooth surface catching the light as it moved. Notably, the object displayed none of the typical characteristics associated with conventional aircraft. The witness later expressed disbelief at what had been recorded, noting that the footage served as the only proof of an event that many might otherwise find difficult to accept. During a bright full moon night in Kuala Lumpur, an unusual sight drew the attention of many observers across the city. Rather than focusing on the moon itself, onlookers found themselves watching a striking formation that appeared directly beneath it. A perfectly rounded ring of clouds had formed in the sky, its edges unusually clean and symmetrical, giving the formation an appearance that seemed almost too precise to occur naturally. Some recalled older stories and theories suggesting that unidentified crafts might conceal themselves within cloud formations, using them as a form of cover while moving unnoticed through the sky. Others offered a more conventional explanation, pointing to the possibility of a rare atmospheric phenomenon in which wind patterns and light conditions combine to produce unusual cloud structures. Despite the differing interpretations, the sight left many observers intrigued by a formation that appeared both strikingly ordered and difficult to immediately explain. At a restricted Air Force facility near Area 51, workers observed a strange glow gradually spreading across the Nevada sky. As the event continued, additional glowing objects emerged, crossing through the sky and intersecting one another's paths while illuminating the darkness in an unusual aerial display. The movement seemed coordinated yet unpredictable, creating a spectacle that left the observers uncertain about what they were witnessing. Even after the footage was later reviewed by specialists, no definitive explanation emerged. The unusual motion patterns, combined with the number of objects involved, left analysts divided over possible interpretations. One observer, reflecting on the strange choreography unfolding overhead, remarked that the scene resembled a battle taking place in the sky. Cloud formations have long appeared in reports describing unusual events in the sky, and another such account recently emerged from Colombia. A witness observed 4 bright lights shining through an otherwise dense layer of clouds, their glow standing out sharply against the darker sky. The phenomenon lasted only briefly before the luminous openings seemed to close, after which the clouds gradually returned to their ordinary shape and appearance. Those who witnessed the event described the moment as deeply unsettling, noting that the lights appeared and disappeared in a manner reminiscent of temporary gateways opening and sealing shut in the sky. Long after the clouds settled back into place, the experience left many observers with a lingering impression that whatever might be observing or passing overhead could exist far closer to Earth than commonly assumed. On December 23, 2025, near Chicago, a man stepping outside for an evening walk noticed 5 glowing objects appear suspended in the air at the same time. Curious about what he was witnessing, he zoomed in with his camera. The objects resembled floating spheres of fire, radiating light in a way that strongly evoked the brilliance of shooting stars. Despite their fiery appearance, however, they showed none of the rapid downward motion typically associated with meteors, remaining suspended rather than falling through the atmosphere. As the man adjusted the camera and zoomed back out to capture a wider view of the sky, the event concluded as abruptly as it had begun. All 5 glowing objects disappeared at the same moment, leaving the sky empty once again, and giving the unsettling impression that the scene had briefly opened and then closed without warning. Do you think the 5 glowing objects that appeared and vanished at the same time over Chicago were something other than meteors? Let me know your opinion, and remember to take a look at the additional interesting content in the top right corner of the screen. In 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 departed on a scheduled journey to Beijing before disappearing without a trace, leaving behind one of the most enduring aviation mysteries of modern times. Recently circulated footage has revived discussion around the case by presenting a controversial and highly debated interpretation of what might have occurred during the flight. According to claims surrounding the video, the aircraft, believed by some viewers to be Flight 370, appears to encounter several luminous orbs moving rapidly behind it. These objects seem to maneuver around the tail of the plane with unusual speed and precision, while the aircraft itself continues forward, showing no visible sign of reacting to the strange activity unfolding nearby. As the aircraft approaches a layer of clouds, the footage depicts a sudden flash of light, after which the plane appears to vanish instantly from view. The dramatic sequence has fueled speculation across the internet, with some observers interpreting the scene as evidence of a possible extraterrestrial abduction. In recent years, cylindrical UFO sightings have generated increasing interest, making a particular incident recorded in Hungary especially noteworthy. The footage, captured in 2020 over the village of Chanka, shows a long, cigar-shaped object moving steadily across the sky. Its elongated, metallic appearance and smooth, cylindrical form differed noticeably from the design typically associated with consumer or commercial drone technology. Observers also noted the way it shifted direction at remarkable speed, altering its angle of movement with a precision and responsiveness that appeared unusual when compared with ordinary aerial devices. A striking video captures what appears to be a remarkably well-defined, unidentified flying object moving rapidly across the sky, while several people watch and record from below. Some observers consider it to be part of the growing number of UFO sightings reported across the United States in recent years, pointing to its unusual form and sudden departure as signs of something unexplained. Others have suggested that the object could be the result of a holographic projection or another form of visual technology. However, skeptics of the hologram theory note that the object remained clearly visible from a significant distance and maintained a consistent appearance while moving quickly out of view, characteristics that would be difficult to sustain with a typical projected image. During a routine flight, a pilot noticed something unusual moving through the sky and shifted attention away from the aircraft's instruments to observe a bright object drifting nearby. The luminous object soon began moving alongside the aircraft, maintaining a brief parallel course before suddenly accelerating upward and disappearing into the higher atmosphere. While many reported UFO sightings have later been explained through conventional causes or visual misinterpretations, this particular incident has remained difficult to clarify, leaving observers and analysts with a case that continues to raise questions. This footage is often described as one of the clearest visual recordings of a so-called cigar-shaped UFO. Its smooth metallic appearance and distinct shape have led some viewers to argue that the phenomenon cannot easily be dismissed as simple video manipulation or editing. In the footage, the object continues traveling steadily through the sky for several minutes before altering its orientation. Gradually shifting into a vertical position, it appears to begin a slow descent toward the ground. The video ends shortly afterward, leaving the final moments of the object's movement undocumented, yet the clarity of the recorded details has continued to fuel discussion about what the object might have been. A vividly colored unidentified flying object was reportedly observed somewhere in the United States, capturing attention because of its unusual structure and striking appearance. The object displayed a distinct circular ring surrounding its outer edge, while the center appeared to contain a cube-like form that stood out clearly within the luminous framework. This unusual configuration led some observers to speculate about the purpose of the cube-shaped core, with theories suggesting it might represent a central control chamber or structural component of the craft. At several moments during the sighting, the object emitted bursts of flashing light, briefly illuminating the surrounding sky. These pulses have prompted speculation that the flashes could represent a form of signaling or communication, possibly directed toward other unidentified craft that might have been present in the same region. As thunder echoed across the sky, a crowd gathered along a beach in Turkey after an unusual sight began to attract attention near the water. The mysterious shape was first noticed hovering low above the water's surface, drawing curious beachgoers closer as word of the sight spread. By the time several people managed to raise their cameras, the figure appeared to extend large wing-like forms and ascend gracefully into the sky. Witnesses described the ascent as smooth and deliberate, with the figure rising higher until it reached a break in the cloud cover. Passing through the opening, it vanished from sight, leaving the crowd below uncertain whether they had observed an unusual natural phenomenon, an illusion, or something far more mysterious. Unusual aerial encounters become particularly striking when they are reported by experienced pilots, as demonstrated by a video in which a clearly visible cube-shaped object appears to pass near an aircraft in flight. The pilot who recorded the footage initially assumed that the object might have been a mylar balloon caught in shifting air currents. However, the altitude at which the aircraft was flying made that explanation difficult to support, since objects of that type are unlikely to remain stable at such heights. Some observers have proposed that the cube-like craft could represent an experimental aircraft or drone developed within a classified government program that was accidentally captured during a test flight. Without additional data or official confirmation, however, the incident remains unresolved, adding another puzzling case to the growing collection of unexplained sightings reported by aviation professionals. On February 18, 2024, residents of Lucca, Italy, reported witnessing an unusual cylindrical object suspended in the sky above the city. Often referred to by observers as a cigar-shaped UFO, the object appeared to hover steadily over a nearby building, remaining visible long enough to draw the attention of numerous onlookers. Some observers interpreted the sighting as evidence of an extraterrestrial craft, pointing to its distinctive form and unexplained presence. Others suggested a more terrestrial explanation, proposing that it might represent an advanced surveillance device or experimental technology developed for governmental or military purposes. Despite the various theories offered, the true nature of the object has remained uncertain, leaving the sighting open to continued speculation. In 2008, residents of Kahramanmaraş, Turkey, reported witnessing a massive, unidentified object moving across the sky above the city. The shape of what appeared to be a large hull could be distinguished, suggesting a structured and solid object rather than a natural phenomenon. When the camera zoomed in further, faint illumination seemed visible within the craft, creating the impression that its interior space was lit from within. Although the recording did not reveal clear details about what might have been inside the object, the presence of internal lighting suggested that something occupied or operated within the structure. Shortly afterward, the object accelerated and moved rapidly out of view, ending the brief and mysterious encounter. As these sightings show, unexplained objects in the sky continue to appear in places all around the world. Some are captured by hikers in remote landscapes, others by pilots high above the clouds, and many by ordinary people who simply happen to look up at the right moment. In several cases, authorities have offered explanations ranging from experimental technology to atmospheric phenomena or space debris. Yet many recordings leave behind details that do not fit neatly into those explanations. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember that somewhere, someone might be recording the next unexplained moment. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Oceans hide some of the scariest mysteries on Earth. During a routine repair mission off Santa Monica, sailors reported gray, eyeless creatures with human-like hands and fishtails lunging toward their boat before vanishing into the depths. Years later, sonar operators aboard the USS Nimitz detected a massive object sitting 900 meters below the ocean, far larger than a whale. Let's uncover the real sea monsters witnessed. A disturbing maritime encounter occurred off the coast of Santa Monica, California, when 3 naval guards, accompanied by an electrical engineer, ventured into the ocean to repair an underwater internet cable. During the operation, several strange creatures suddenly emerged from the sea and lunged toward their boat, creating immediate alarm among the crew. The beings possessed slimy, grayish bodies and rows of sharp teeth, yet their most unsettling feature was the complete absence of visible eyes. Their anatomy appeared oddly hybrid, combining human-like hands with a fish-like tail and a pronounced ridge running along their backs. Confronted with the bizarre sight, the group speculated that the creatures might be some form of mermaids and urgently called for backup. However, before any assistance could arrive, the mysterious figures slipped back beneath the surface and disappeared into the depths, leaving behind no evidence and no explanation for what had been witnessed. Following reports of a massive creature near Port Blair in the Andaman Islands, a team of Navy guards was dispatched to investigate the unusual sighting. Upon arrival, they encountered a scene that appeared almost unbelievable. A large animal lay partially submerged in the water, with only its rough, scaly tail and a series of sharp, spiky ridges along its back visible above the surface. These features gave the creature a striking resemblance to a crocodile. However, crocodiles had never previously been reported in that particular area. Amid the confusion, one of the guards speculated that the animal might be Gustav, the notorious crocodile of legend. Disturbed by the possibility and uncertain about how to proceed, the team quickly contacted the wildlife department and requested that specialists handle the situation. During a Sunday fishing trip in the Pacific Ocean, a group of Navy guards experienced an encounter that defied their expectations. An unusual creature suddenly appeared inside their boat, startling everyone on board. The animal displayed a reddish-orange coloration and a swollen, bulb-shaped head, accompanied by 2 sunken eyes and 8 long tentacles that allowed it to drag its body slowly across the deck. Unsure how to respond to the unexpected visitor, the guards quickly opened the boat's gate and watched as the creature slipped back into the ocean. Subsequent online research and consultations with experts revealed that the animal was a giant Pacific octopus, widely recognized as one of the largest and most enigmatic octopus species in the world. On November 7, 2014, residents living near the coast of Jamaica reported a strange sight in the water and alerted local authorities. A scuba diver subsequently retrieved the creature and brought it to shore, where onlookers were struck by its unusual appearance. The body resembled that of a young woman with a dark complexion and long hair. However, instead of human legs, it possessed a scaly, fish-like tail. Witnesses gathered along the beach quickly became convinced that they were looking at a mermaid. Authorities later transported the body to a laboratory for examination, yet no official report was ever released explaining the creature's identity or clarifying what ultimately became of it. While waiting on a dock for his boat, a Navy officer noticed an unusual movement across the wooden planks, where a strange creature appeared to be flapping its tail. Its body displayed an unsettling blend of green and pink hues, while rough scales ran along the length of its back. The creature's face appeared distorted, and its head seemed disproportionately large compared to the rest of its body, giving it an even more disturbing appearance. Before the officer could approach for a closer look, the creature twisted abruptly and leapt into the water, vanishing beneath the surface in an instant. When the officer later recounted the encounter to local residents, several suggested that the mysterious animal might have been a siren, noting that similar mermaid-like figures had reportedly been seen in those waters before. After the incident was reported to his superiors, a search team was dispatched to investigate the area. However, despite their efforts, no trace of the creature was ever found, leaving the encounter unexplained. Recently, a chilling moment was captured on camera at Panama Lake, where a massive dark fin violently broke through the water near the gates, rising high above the surface. Although the creature's full body remained hidden beneath the murky depths, the sheer size of the dorsal fin alone was enough to send waves of fear through onlookers. The unsettling footage quickly drew the attention of marine biologists, who were still trying to determine what could have produced such a massive presence in the water. Among the more startling theories is the possibility that the creature might be a megalodon, an ancient and colossal predator believed to have vanished from Earth millions of years ago. On June 15, 2023, a naval guard stationed near Osaka Bay in Japan noticed an unusual disturbance in the water as a strange creature rose briefly to the surface. Its appearance seemed oddly hybrid, bearing a duck-like beak while the rest of its body displayed none of the typical characteristics associated with ducks. Instead, the animal possessed a smooth, seal-like form, equipped with fins and a long, sleek tail that moved effortlessly just beneath the surface of the water. The encounter was captured on video, and once the footage was shared online, it quickly attracted widespread attention. Despite the curiosity it generated, the majority of viewers dismissed the clip as nothing more than a hoax. A few months ago, a peculiar video shared on Instagram quickly attracted widespread attention. During a visit to the Balsas River in Mexico, a man noticed an unusual creature floating in the water, prompting him to record the sight. The animal displayed a bright blue body resembling that of a fish, while distinct whisker-like structures extended from around its mouth, giving it a striking and unfamiliar appearance. Having never encountered anything like it before, the man turned to a nearby tour guide for an explanation. The guide suggested that the creature was a Mexican tetra, commonly known as a cave blindfish, a species known for inhabiting dark cave systems and often exhibiting unusual physical traits. Such a distinctive fish naturally raises curiosity about whether others have encountered a similar sight. During a routine nighttime fishing trip in the Sargasso Sea near Bermuda, a fisherman experienced an unexpected and startling catch. After placing bait in the water and waiting patiently for several hours, the fishing line suddenly tightened as something powerful began pulling from below. Anticipating a large fish, the fisherman slowly reeled in the line, only to discover a strange and unfamiliar sea creature at the end of it. The animal possessed a vivid orange-colored body, along with two horn-like antennae extending above its eyes, while its strong tail and segmented legs gave it an unusual and somewhat intimidating appearance. Once the creature was brought to shore, other fishermen gathered around and reacted with similar astonishment at the sight. Subsequent identification revealed that the mysterious catch was a spiny sea lobster, a marine species known for its distinctive antennae and armored body. On March 27, 2023, a tourist visiting Okanagan Lake in Canada recorded a puzzling sight while observing the calm surface of the water. A long, dark shape briefly moved just beneath the surface before quickly disappearing from view, leaving only a fleeting impression of its presence. According to residents, the mysterious figure could have been Ogopogo, the legendary lake monster rumored to inhabit the lake for centuries. The video captured during the encounter reveals only a portion of the creature, with what appears to be a tail visible while the rest of its body remains concealed beneath the water. Because the footage provides limited detail, the sighting has fueled speculation without offering definitive proof. Some observers consider the possibility that it could represent a rare glimpse of the elusive Ogopogo, whereas others remain skeptical, noting that no conclusive evidence confirms the creature's existence. On October 15, 2024, an oceanographer ventured out to sea with the intention of filming marine life. Just as preparations were being made to dive into the water, an unusual sight appeared nearby. A strange figure standing atop the shell of a giant sea turtle. The figure displayed a pale face, blue legs, a long flowing beard, and hands that resembled crab claws, giving it a strikingly otherworldly appearance. The oceanographer associated the figure with the shellbearer, a legendary being said in maritime folklore to wander the oceans while riding on the back of a sea turtle. After the footage was later shared on Instagram, the clip quickly attracted widespread attention. Despite the curiosity it generated, however, most viewers dismissed the video as a fabrication, suggesting that the scene had likely been created or altered with the assistance of artificial intelligence. During what had begun as a calm and enjoyable boat ride in the Pacific Ocean, a group of tourists suddenly noticed an unusual object floating on the surface of the water. The shape appeared enormous and dark, with a long neck and a body that resembled that of a snake, creating an unsettling silhouette against the otherwise peaceful surroundings. However, before a clear video could be captured, the creature slipped silently beneath the surface and disappeared from view. The abrupt vanishing left the group shaken, and many became convinced that they had just witnessed some kind of sea monster. When the incident was later described to residents, some suggested that the mysterious figure might have been Ogopogo, a legendary water-dwelling creature that has long been part of Canadian folklore. What do you think of this creature? Let me know your opinion, and don't forget to check out more interesting content in the top right corner of your screen. While boating through Fort Bragg in California, a man noticed an unusual object floating on the surface of the water. At first, the shape appeared indistinct and difficult to interpret. However, as it drifted closer and became clearer, its form began to stand out. The creature possessed a massive head and an elongated body that resembled a serpent, accompanied by a pointed mouth unlike that of any familiar marine animal. Remaining near the surface for several moments, it allowed enough time for careful observation, yet its unsettling appearance left a lasting impression. Later reflections led the witness to speculate that the creature might have resembled Jormungandr, the legendary sea serpent described in ancient mythology. Whether the sighting resulted from myth-inspired interpretation or simple misidentification, the encounter remained unforgettable, as nothing similar had ever been seen before. In 2023, a Navy helicopter flying over the Pacific Ocean near Astoria, Oregon, recorded a puzzling sight when the pilot noticed an enormous shape drifting below the aircraft. The object soon revealed itself to be a massive sea creature floating near the surface of the water. It possessed long tentacles covered in small pores, along with a large rounded head and wide bulging eyes that gave it a strikingly unusual appearance. Its skin appeared brownish-gray, and although its general form resembled that of an octopus, its size seemed far greater than that of any known species. After the footage was shared online, it spread rapidly across social media platforms and sparked immediate debate. Some viewers speculated that authorities might possess additional information that had not been publicly disclosed, while others argued that the creature likely had a natural explanation yet to be identified. A few months ago, a visitor exploring Mexico's Balsas River recorded an unusual sight that quickly drew attention. Drifting in the water was a strikingly bright blue creature with whisker-like structures around its mouth, giving it an appearance that resembled a fish yet seemed unlike anything the man had encountered before. The guide identified the creature as a Mexican tetra, a rare species of blind cave fish typically associated with dark underground environments. Despite this explanation, the encounter remained remarkable, as witnessing such a distinctive fish in the open river proved both unexpected and astonishing. Encounters of this kind are uncommon, making the sighting a rare glimpse of an unusual species in its natural surroundings. Near Newport, Oregon, a Navy guard encountered an unusual sight while swimming in coastal waters when an unfamiliar creature drifted nearby. The animal displayed a brown body, round black eyes, and a long extended head that gave it a particularly distinctive profile. Because only the upper portion of its body was visible above the water's surface, its full shape remained unclear at first, adding to the sense of mystery surrounding the encounter. The guard suggested that the animal was most likely an elephant fish, a species recognized for its elongated, trunk-like snout, which it uses to detect prey hidden beneath the sand. Typically silvery gray in color and capable of growing to about 1.5 meters in length, this fish is an unusual but well-documented marine species. What initially appeared mysterious ultimately proved to be a rare yet entirely real inhabitant of the ocean. After sonar equipment detected unusual signals beneath the surface, a team of Navy guards set out to investigate in the deep waters of the Philippine Sea. As they descended further into the ocean, they encountered a strange object drifting almost motionless in the darkness below. The creature possessed 8 long trailing arms and a reddish-pink body, while wide fin-like structures extended outward, giving it an otherworldly silhouette against the surrounding water. For a brief moment, the crew considered the possibility that they had encountered an unknown species. However, the marine biologist accompanying the team examined the creature more closely and recognized it as a big-fin squid, a rarely observed deep-sea species known for its extremely long arms and distinctive fins. Although the sight initially seemed mysterious, the discovery ultimately revealed itself to be a genuine yet seldom seen inhabitant of the ocean's depths. While flying a marine helicopter over the Coral Sea, a pilot noticed an unusual disturbance moving across the water below. A dark, jagged ridge appeared to cut through the waves, advancing rapidly across the surface before slipping beneath the water and disappearing from view. The shape seemed both large and powerful, leaving a striking impression as it moved with unexpected speed. Later reflections on the encounter led the pilot to remark that the silhouette strongly resembled creatures typically seen only in films, evoking comparisons to the fictional monster Godzilla. The unsettling similarity made the sighting difficult to dismiss, particularly because the movement had been observed directly from above. After the incident was reported, search teams were dispatched to scan the surrounding waters. However, despite their efforts, no trace of the mysterious object was ever found. In May 2025, a fisherman shared a video online that rapidly attracted global attention. The footage showed him holding an unusual deep-sea creature whose appearance immediately sparked curiosity and speculation. Its head resembled the shape of an alien skull, while the surface of its body appeared slimy and uneven, almost as though it were coated in a thin, stone-like layer. Because of its strange form and unfamiliar texture, many viewers initially assumed that the creature might be something extraordinary or even otherworldly. The unusual structure did not resemble the typical fish most people are accustomed to seeing, which only intensified the online discussion surrounding the clip. Later clarification from the fisherman revealed that the animal was actually a smooth lumpfish, a real marine species known for its peculiar appearance. A couple once recorded a small marine creature whose unusual appearance quickly attracted widespread attention online. The animal possessed a smooth, fish-shaped body, yet its overall form reminded many viewers of a miniature dinosaur. Bright, colorful gills and intricately patterned scales gave it a striking look, allowing the creature to stand out clearly in the footage. Because of its distinctive features, the couple referred to the animal as a sea dragon. Regardless of whether the name accurately reflects its biological identity, the creature's remarkable appearance captivated viewers and prompted many to watch the video repeatedly. About a year ago, in Chesapeake Bay, a fisherman captured a puzzling moment on camera while observing the dark, cloudy water beneath his boat. Just below the surface, a massive and slimy shape could be seen moving slowly, disturbing the water as it shifted through the murky depths. The motion suggested a creature of considerable size, yet the poor visibility prevented a clear view of its full form. From what could be discerned during the encounter, the creature appeared to possess a fish-like tail, while the rest of its body seemed unusually long and snake-like. The unsettling sight immediately brought to mind Chessie, the legendary water creature long rumored to inhabit the waters of Chesapeake Bay. Whether the sighting involved a misidentified animal or something more mysterious remains uncertain, leaving the encounter open to speculation. During a powerful sea storm near the Philippines, the crew of a cargo ship encountered an unexpected and unsettling sight. As large waves crashed against the vessel and the sea churned violently around them, a massive shape briefly rose from the water before sinking back beneath the surface. Startled by the sudden appearance, several crew members quickly attempted to record the moment. However, the creature disappeared before a clear image could be captured. The footage that remained showed only a large, shadowy form fading into the dark and turbulent sea. In the aftermath of the encounter, some members of the crew remarked that the silhouette reminded them of Bakanawa, a legendary sea serpent from local folklore, often believed to dwell in deep waters and to be associated with powerful storms. Whether the sighting resulted from coincidence, misidentification, or something more mysterious, the experience left a lasting impression on everyone aboard the ship. One Sunday, a group of Navy guards was fishing in the Pacific Ocean when an unexpected event disrupted the routine outing. Without any clear warning, a reddish-orange creature suddenly appeared inside their boat, startling everyone on board. The animal possessed a swollen, rounded head, deep-set eyes, and 8 long tentacles that slowly pulled its body across the deck as it moved. For several moments, the guards remained frozen in confusion, unable to understand how the creature had managed to reach the boat. Eventually, they opened the gate and watched as it slid back into the water and disappeared beneath the surface. Later research and discussions with experts suggested that the animal was most likely a giant Pacific octopus, a species recognized as one of the largest octopuses in the world. While flying over the waters near Acapulco, Mexico, a group of Navy officers noticed an unusual sight in the Pacific Ocean below. Drifting near the surface was a large, pitch-black creature whose presence immediately drew their attention. The animal possessed 6 long tentacles, each lined with small white openings, while its head appeared round and disproportionately large compared to the rest of its body. Although the officers remarked that the creature resembled a giant octopus, several aspects of its appearance seemed unfamiliar and far more unusual than any species they recognized. As the aircraft continued its course, the encounter left the crew reflecting on how little of the ocean has truly been explored. Reports of a giant creature near Westport, Washington, prompted naval forces to investigate the surrounding waters. Upon arrival, personnel observed large shapes moving slowly beneath the surface, creating disturbances that were visible even from above. At first, the movement suggested the presence of a large whale. However, closer observation revealed a form that appeared different from any familiar marine animal. A long, serpent-like figure began gliding through the water, its grayish-black back briefly visible as it curved beneath the surface. When the footage of the encounter later circulated online, many viewers expressed skepticism and proposed that the images could have been artificially generated using modern digital tools. Despite these doubts, the mysterious sighting continues to spark debate, as no definitive explanation has been established for what was actually recorded that day. Near Kodiak Island, beneath overcast skies and cutting coastal winds, a Navy aircraft was conducting a routine reconnaissance flight along the shoreline. During the patrol, the calm surface of the sea below suddenly shifted, forming a single massive swell that differed from the surrounding waves, as though something enormous had risen just beneath the water. Despite the visible movement in the water, the aircraft's radar systems displayed nothing unusual. No passing vessel, no approaching storm system, and no detectable marine animal. Later examination of satellite data revealed a brief anomaly. For only 2 frames, a dark shape roughly the length of a football field appeared beneath the surface before vanishing again into the depths. Among residents, such unexplained sightings are sometimes associated with a legendary name, Leviathan, a mythical sea creature set in folklore to remain hidden in the ocean's depths until disturbed. During a classified submarine mission in the Arctic during the Cold War, a Navy crew encountered a series of events that gradually unsettled everyone on board. On the first day of the patrol, sonar operators detected an unexplained blip that appeared briefly before fading from the display. By the second day, instruments indicated a long, dark shape moving through the water behind the submarine, maintaining a steady distance as if deliberately following the vessel beneath the ice. On the third day, the mysterious presence moved closer, intensifying the tension inside the submarine. For 72 hours, the vessel continued its mission while the unknown object remained nearby, neither attacking nor producing any detectable sound, yet creating the persistent feeling that something beneath the frozen ocean was silently stalking them. Then, on the fourth day, the presence disappeared without explanation, leaving no trace on sonar and no further visual confirmation. During a midnight patrol in the Philippine Sea, the routine watch was suddenly disrupted when one of the sailors reported seeing what appeared to be an eye in the water. Suspended in the dark water was a single glowing red eye, unblinking and enormous, roughly the size of a car tire, fixed directly on the vessel as though observing it. As the crew stared in disbelief, strange disturbances began affecting the ship's instruments. The compass needle spun erratically, while the radar system briefly malfunctioned. After several moments that felt far longer than they were, the glowing shape slowly descended into the depths, fading into the darkness below the ship. Although the ocean soon returned to its calm state, the unsettling encounter left the crew shaken, and sleep proved nearly impossible for anyone aboard that night. In the late 1980s, a Navy research vessel anchored overnight in the Gulf of Mexico during what initially appeared to be a calm and uneventful night. That silence was abruptly broken when a deep, rumbling growl rose from beneath the water, a sound resembling distant thunder reverberating through the ocean itself. Sonar operators quickly analyzed the signal and recorded a frequency that did not correspond to any known marine animal. As the unsettling noise echoed through the headphones of the sonar team, one sailor abruptly removed his headset and quietly remarked that what had been heard did not resemble a sound at all, but rather the rhythmic pattern of breathing from something enormous beneath the vessel. Confronted with the unknown disturbance, the captain immediately ordered an emergency departure, and the ship left the area without delay. In the years that followed, 3 members of the crew reportedly refused to discuss the incident again, leaving the strange encounter unresolved. In 1998, during a nighttime patrol aboard the USS Nimitz, crew members monitoring the surrounding waters encountered an unusual sonar reading. While scanning the depths of the ocean, a sonar operator detected a massive object resting approximately 900 meters below the surface. The shape appeared far larger than a whale and remained completely motionless, prompting speculation among the crew about what could be sitting at such depth. Just before the object was expected to break the surface, the signal abruptly vanished from the sonar screens. The sudden disappearance left the crew without any explanation for what had been detected. According to later accounts, the sonar technician who had first observed the object resigned from service that very night. Covering more than 70% of Earth's surface, the seas conceal vast regions that humans have barely explored. Many of the sightings described in this video eventually found reasonable explanations. Whether each account represents a rare species, a misunderstood animal, or simply the power of human interpretation in unfamiliar environments, they all highlight one undeniable truth: the ocean still holds far more mysteries than answers. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. In 1972, Apollo 16 astronaut Charles Duke became the 10th person to walk on the moon. He spent 71 hours there, roamed the surface on 3 moonwalks, and hauled back 211 pounds of lunar rocks. Officially, it was a triumph. Every goal crushed, from mapping highlands to planting experiments. But years later, Duke's interviews revealed something far stranger. He spoke of the moon not as a scientific win, but as a mind-altering glimpse into Earth, humanity, and the cosmos. So if Apollo was such a success, why did we abruptly stop going back? And what did Duke really see up there that's been hushed up ever since? Let's explore. Apollo 16 launched on April 16, 1972, carrying 3 astronauts: Mission Commander John Young, Command Module Pilot Ken Mattingly, and Lunar Module Pilot Charles Duke. Their destination was the Descartes Highlands, a region scientists once hypothesized was volcanic in origin, though the mission later showed that the terrain was primarily formed by massive impact debris, breccias. The mission maintained a rigorous scientific focus. The crew deployed the Apollo Lunar Surface Experiments Package, ALSEP, to study moonquakes, solar wind, and cosmic rays. They collected 211.2 pounds of rock samples from previously unexamined highland terrain, tested the Lunar Roving Vehicle, LRV, across a landscape more rugged than those explored in earlier missions, and conducted extensive orbital and surface photography. Young and Duke landed the lunar module Orion on April 21st and conducted 3 extravehicular activities, EVAs, over the following 3 days. The first EVA lasted 7 hours and 11 minutes, the second 7 hours and 23 minutes, and the third 5 hours and 40 minutes. Altogether, the pair spent more than 20 hours on the lunar surface, traveling 16.6 miles in the rover while gathering samples from multiple highland sites. Throughout the mission, activities were monitored by Mission Control in Houston. While the mission was a scientific success, it also included several technical challenges. Shortly after separation in lunar orbit, a malfunction in the service module's main engine gimbal system raised the possibility of aborting the landing. Additionally, a heat flow experiment was lost when John Young accidentally tripped over and severed a sensor cable. Charles Duke has since reflected on these tense moments, including a fall during a lunar high jump attempt, noting that the mission involved more risk than many brief historical summaries suggest. However, while Apollo 16 was officially recorded as a carefully planned scientific expedition, Duke later suggested that during one of their surface explorations, something occurred that did not fit neatly into the mission's formal reports. During the second extravehicular activity, roughly 5 hours into their exploration of the Cayley Plains, Duke and Young encountered events Duke later described as unexpected and unsettling. What began as routine scientific work, he claims, shifted into something far more unusual. In later interviews, Duke recalled several anomalies that he and Young experienced on the lunar surface, events he says never appeared in official mission reports or public records. The first anomaly involved light. Because the moon has no atmosphere, sunlight there should appear intensely white and unfiltered, while shadows should be completely black due to the absence of atmospheric scattering. This was generally what Duke expected and observed during most of the mission. However, while working in one particular area during the second extravehicular activity, he said the character of the light changed. Instead of pure white sunlight, he noticed faint hints of color, soft blues and greens that seemed to have no identifiable source. When he mentioned the observation to Young, Young reportedly confirmed seeing the same effect. They informed Mission Control in Houston, but received no explanation and were instructed to continue their planned tasks. The second anomaly involved sound. In a vacuum, sound cannot travel through air, so the astronauts should have heard only radio transmissions or vibrations conducted through solid contact with their suits or equipment. Yet Duke later stated that in the same region where the unusual lighting appeared, both he and Young heard tones through their helmets. These were not voices or recognizable signals, but harmonic sounds, almost musical in quality, that seemed to resonate inside their suits despite the surrounding vacuum. When they reported the phenomenon to Houston, they again received no explanation and were told to proceed with the mission. A third anomaly was more subjective. A sense that time behaved strangely. Duke described moments during the second extravehicular activity when the passage of time felt distorted. Some periods seemed to pass almost instantly, while tasks that should have required only a few minutes appeared to take much longer. However, when they checked their mission timers, the recorded elapsed time matched expectations. The discrepancy existed only in their perception. Finally, Duke recalled a persistent sensation of being watched. He described a feeling that something unseen was aware of their presence and observing their movements. The sensation was not overtly threatening, but it was strong enough to remain in his mind. As a military test pilot trained to maintain focus under pressure, Duke said he normally ignored psychological distractions, yet he found the feeling difficult to dismiss. According to Duke's later accounts, all of these anomalies occurred in the same general area during the second extravehicular activity. It was in that location, he claimed, that he and Young would soon encounter a discovery that, in his view, changed the nature of the mission entirely. Duke's account of the discovery has remained consistent across multiple interviews. During the second EVA, while driving the lunar roving vehicle across the Cayley Plains toward a geological sampling site, he noticed something unusual on the horizon. The shape stood out immediately. Unlike the chaotic lunar landscape of craters, boulders, and irregular terrain formed by billions of years of impacts, this formation showed straight lines, sharp edges, and clear angles. Natural geology rarely produces such regular geometry. Duke pointed it out to Young, who confirmed seeing the same anomaly. Intrigued, they diverted from their planned route and drove the rover about 200 meters closer to investigate. As they approached, the feature became even harder to explain as a natural formation. Duke described it as a wall or foundation roughly 100 meters long, composed of large block-like segments arranged in what appeared to be a deliberate pattern. Much of the structure seemed partially buried, with only the upper portions visible above the lunar regolith, suggesting that a larger section might lie beneath the surface. The blocks appeared darker than the surrounding rock and had a smoother texture. Most striking was their geometry, defined edges, corners, and flat faces that erosion or meteor impacts would be unlikely to produce. Some sections even appeared to fit together with notable precision, although long exposure to impacts had damaged parts of the structure. To Duke and Young, the formation resembled something constructed rather than naturally formed, an ordered structure on the moon that defied normal geological expectations. But the most unsettling part wasn't what they saw on the lunar surface. It was how Mission Control reacted when they reported it. Duke and Young approached the structure, examined it visually from a distance of approximately 50 meters, and radioed mission control with a detailed description of what they were seeing. They requested permission to move closer and take additional photographs. According to Duke's later recollection, something unusual then occurred. Houston became silent. The pause felt like several minutes, though Duke later acknowledged that the stress of the moment may have affected his perception of time. When Houston finally responded, Duke said the voice sounded different from the familiar Capcom they had been communicating with, possibly a senior mission official speaking carefully and deliberately. The response, as Duke later described it, was brief. They were instructed to continue the planned EVA activities, not approach the structure any closer, and to photograph it only from their current position if possible, before proceeding to the designated sampling site. Duke said there was no detailed discussion about the object and no visible reaction from mission control. Duke and Young followed those instructions. As trained military pilots and astronauts, they continued with their assigned tasks. They photographed the formation from their position and then drove the rover to the scheduled sampling location. In later interviews, Duke suggested that the calm response from mission control gave him the impression that the situation was being handled cautiously. However, these reflections represent Duke's personal interpretation of the events rather than confirmed historical conclusions. According to Duke, he and John Young took numerous photographs of the structure from several angles during the short time they observed it. Those images, he believes, would have provided documentation that could allow later analysis of the geometry, material composition, and other features. However, Duke later stated that when he returned to Earth and reviewed mission photography after debriefing, the specific images he remembered were not included in the official photo archive. When he asked about them, he said he was told they were being held for technical analysis or that there may have been technical issues during development. He recalls being assured the photographs would be released after review, but he says he never saw them appear publicly. In interviews many years after the mission, Duke has said that he has not found those photographs in NASA's publicly available Apollo 16 image collections or in archives commonly used by researchers and historians. Because of this, he believes the images may have been removed, withheld, or possibly lost during archival processes. Over the years, Duke said he heard several different explanations, including possible technical problems during processing, classification related to reconnaissance technology, or archival misplacement. From his perspective, the changing explanations raised questions for him about what may have happened to the images. For Duke, the absence of the photographs is central to the story. Without them, his recollection remains a personal account rather than documented evidence. He has said that he remembers the photographs being taken and recalls seeing them during early mission reviews, but that he has not encountered them again in the decades since the mission. When Duke examined the structure from the rover, one detail stood out that continues to disturb him decades later: the apparent age. The blocks showed signs of erosion far beyond what would be expected from anything built within the time frame of human history. The moon's surface is constantly bombarded by micrometeorites, solar radiation, and temperature extremes that create a slow weathering process. Rock exposed on the lunar surface develops a characteristic texture over millions of years. The blocks Duke observed showed this kind of deep weathering, suggesting they had been exposed for geological timescales, not thousands of years, but millions or even hundreds of millions of years. If the structures were that old, they would predate human civilization by an incomprehensible margin. They would predate Homo sapiens as a species. They would predate the entire evolutionary lineage that led to humans. They would exist from a time when Earth was populated by dinosaurs, or earlier, when life on Earth was still primarily single-celled organisms. The implications are staggering. Either an intelligence existed in our solar system long before humans evolved, or the structures were built by an intelligence that originated elsewhere and visited our moon in the distant past, or our understanding of lunar geology and human history is fundamentally wrong. Duke does not claim to know which explanation is correct. He insists that the structures appeared ancient, weathered by processes that require geological timescales, and that this observation raises questions that NASA has chosen not to publicly address. Charles Duke is not the only Apollo astronaut whose later comments have sparked discussion about unusual observations during the Apollo missions. Buzz Aldrin, the second person to walk on the moon during Apollo 11, has spoken in interviews about seeing objects during the mission that initially appeared unexplained. Aldrin has generally said these were likely reflections or pieces of spacecraft hardware, though some of his remarks have been interpreted by others in ways that led to additional speculation. Edgar Mitchell, who walked on the moon during Apollo 14, became increasingly outspoken later in life about his personal belief that governments may possess information about extraterrestrial contact that has not been fully disclosed to the public. Mitchell did not claim to have seen such evidence on the moon itself, but he publicly expressed interest in the broader topic of unidentified aerial phenomena and the possibility of non-human intelligence. Al Warden, command module pilot for Apollo 15, also made comments in interviews discussing the possibility that intelligent life could exist elsewhere in the universe. Some of his remarks explored speculative ideas about humanity's origins and the potential for advanced civilizations beyond Earth. These views were widely regarded as his personal opinions rather than official NASA positions. From Duke's perspective, these statements contribute to a broader conversation about whether astronauts may have had experiences or observations that were interpreted in different ways after the missions. Supporters of Duke's account sometimes view his story about a possible structure on the moon as part of that larger discussion, while others consider it an example of how memories, interpretations, and speculation can evolve. Against this backdrop of astronaut reflections and speculation, Charles Duke's story stands out, not only for what he says he experienced, but also because of the remarkable credibility and career that places words under closer public scrutiny. Charles Duke is not typically described as a conspiracy advocate or someone prone to exaggeration. He is widely known as one of the astronauts involved in the Apollo program and has had a long career in aviation and spaceflight. Born in 1935, Duke graduated from the United States Naval Academy and later became an Air Force fighter pilot and test pilot before being selected as a NASA astronaut in 1966. Like the other astronauts of the Apollo era, Duke went through extremely demanding training and was chosen for his technical skill, discipline, and ability to operate under pressure. Astronauts were trained to carefully observe and report what they experienced during missions, which is one reason their recollections often attract public interest. Duke's role in the Apollo program extended beyond his own lunar mission. He served as the capsule communicator, or Capcom, for Apollo 11, meaning his voice was the one Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin heard from Mission Control during the first moon landing. When Armstrong announced, "The Eagle has landed," it was Duke who replied, "Roger, tranquility, we copied you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again." Duke later walked on the moon during Apollo 16, one of the final lunar missions of the program. In interviews many years after the mission, he has reflected on his experiences and shared personal interpretations of what he observed during the time he spent on and around the lunar surface. Because of his background and role in the Apollo program, Duke's comments sometimes attract attention from people interested in alternative interpretations of lunar exploration history. However, his statements are generally presented as his personal recollections and viewpoints rather than confirmed historical conclusions. And it is precisely because of that credibility that Duke's later reflections lead to an even bigger question. If someone with his background believes something unusual may have been encountered, why did humanity suddenly stop returning to the moon? In interviews and discussions about the topic, Duke has suggested his own interpretation. He has speculated that a discovery of that scale might raise complex questions, such as who could have built such structures, how long they might have existed, and what they could mean for humanity's understanding of the universe. In his view, questions like these could potentially challenge long-standing scientific, historical, or cultural assumptions. From Duke's perspective, it is possible that decision-makers at the time preferred to maintain focus on the official goals of the Apollo program, which were tied to Cold War competition and technological achievement. The program was eventually ended for widely cited reasons, including cost, shifting political priorities, and changing public interest. However, Duke has suggested that other factors might also have influenced how information and discoveries were handled. It is important to note that these ideas reflect Duke's personal interpretation of events rather than confirmed historical conclusions. Historians and space agencies generally explain the end of Apollo through economic and political factors of the early 1970s. Nonetheless, Duke's perspective continues to be discussed by those interested in alternative interpretations of the Apollo era and the unanswered questions some believe may remain about humanity's first journeys to the moon. Charles Duke is now in his late 80s, reflecting on a career that placed him among the few people who have walked on the moon. Having retired long ago from active service, he occasionally speaks about his experiences during the Apollo program and the lasting impressions those missions left on him. In some interviews, Duke has suggested that there may be aspects of the Apollo era that he believes were not fully explored or discussed at the time. According to his recollections, he felt that certain observations from the missions deserved further investigation, though he acknowledges that the documentation and evidence related to those claims have not been publicly confirmed. His comments often lead to broader questions people ask about lunar exploration. For example, why did human missions to the moon stop after the early 1970s, despite advances in technology since then? Why have later space programs focused more on robotic missions, orbital projects, and destinations such as Mars? Space historians generally explain the end of the Apollo program through a combination of factors, including budget limitations, shifting political priorities, and changing public interest after the initial achievements of the lunar landings. Since then, space agencies have invested heavily in other projects such as space stations, deep space telescopes, and robotic planetary exploration. Duke's personal reflections offer a different perspective on that period of history. He has suggested that some discoveries or observations from the Apollo missions might have raised questions that were not pursued further at the time. However, these ideas remain his personal interpretations rather than confirmed historical conclusions. Today, discussions about returning humans to the moon have re-emerged through new programs aimed at future lunar exploration. As these missions develop, interest in the history of Apollo and in the memories and viewpoints of the astronauts who took part continues to grow.
From 2025 to early 2026, the Persian Gulf became a region of intensifying geopolitical tensions. American satellites equipped with advanced surveillance technology orbited above, while Israeli intelligence deployed sophisticated reconnaissance systems to monitor developments on the ground. Yet despite this technological advantage, Iran's most critical nuclear facilities repeatedly evaded reliable detection. Entire enrichment complexes, sites expected to produce thermal signatures visible from space, appeared to blend into the surrounding terrain. Even the U.S. military, backed by $1 trillion defense budget and decades of satellite imaging expertise, struggled to consistently track installations that should be difficult to conceal, raising questions about whether an ancient engineering tradition nearly 3 millennia old could play a role. Beneath the Iranian plateau extends a vast underground network known as the Qanat Water System, an ancient Persian engineering achievement that sustained communities across arid regions for thousands of years. Built nearly 3 millennia ago, Qanats consist of gently sloping subterranean tunnels and vertical shafts that channel groundwater across long distances while remaining largely invisible from the surface. This hidden infrastructure enabled settlements to survive recurring droughts and harsh environmental conditions. More than a historical irrigation method, the Qanat system embodies a tradition of engineering that is designed to function underground, while leaving minimal surface traces. In an era when high-resolution satellites monitor much of the planet, such subterranean design demonstrates how deeply buried infrastructure can significantly reduce visible signatures above ground. Some strategic analyses have suggested that Iranian engineers study ancient underground systems to understand whether similar construction principles might inform modern subterranean facilities. Techniques historically used in Qanats, careful tunneling, controlled gradients, and interconnected shafts, illustrate methods for building extensive underground networks protected by layers of earth and rock, rather than relying solely on advanced materials or electronic countermeasures. If applied to modern strategic infrastructure, deeply buried facilities could complicate monitoring and verification efforts that depend heavily on satellite imagery and surface observation. The discussion, therefore, highlights a broader question about whether traditional engineering knowledge, refined over generations of Persian water management, might intersect with contemporary underground construction in unexpected ways. The civilization that developed the Qanat, recognized by UNESCO as an outstanding example of human ingenuity, demonstrated how complex underground systems could operate almost invisibly for centuries. In the modern age of satellites and digital surveillance, these ancient principles of subterranean design continue to raise questions about the limits of technological observation and the enduring relevance of historical engineering traditions. The basic structure of a Qanat begins with what Persian engineers call the mother well, a vertical shaft sunk deep into an alluvial fan where underground aquifers come closest to the surface. These mother wells can reach depths of 300 meters, penetrating through layers of rock and sediment to tap into water sources that surface wells could never access. From this starting point, the real engineering marvel begins. A gently sloping tunnel extends from the mother well, following the natural gradient of the land, but at a carefully calculated angle. This tunnel, called the Koshkan, must maintain a precise slope. The tunnel continues underground, sometimes for dozens of kilometers, until it finally emerges at a daylight point near a settlement. Along this entire length, vertical shafts puncture the surface at regular intervals, typically every 20 to 50 meters. From above, these shafts appear as a line of craters marching across the desert landscape, the only visible evidence of the massive infrastructure hidden below. Iran possesses more than 37,000 functioning Qanat systems today, down from an estimated 50,000 that existed historically. The combined length of these underground channels exceeds hundreds of thousands of kilometers. To put this in perspective, this subterranean network is longer than the entire United States interstate highway system, yet it remains almost entirely invisible from the surface.
What makes the Qanat truly remarkable from an engineering perspective is its sustainability. The construction of a Qanat required specialized knowledge passed down through generations of Muqannis. The resilience of Qanat systems is legendary. These networks have survived earthquakes, wars, and the collapse of the civilizations that built them. Unlike surface infrastructure that can be easily destroyed, a Qanat buried deep underground is nearly impossible to damage without knowing its exact location and having the means to excavate to significant depths. Historical records show that Qanats continued to function even when the cities they served were razed to the ground. The same characteristics that allowed these networks to sustain agriculture in hostile environments also make them ideal for concealing activities that must remain hidden from aerial surveillance. The vertical shafts that once served to remove excavation spoil and provide ventilation could serve identical purposes for modern underground facilities. Iran already possesses one of the largest human-made underground tunnel networks in the world, built over 3 millennia and maintained through generations. This infrastructure represents an asset that no other nation can replicate, a subterranean highway system that exists entirely below the detection threshold of satellite surveillance. The question isn't whether this network exists, but whether it has been repurposed for applications its ancient builders never imagined. Military strategists have long recognized that Iran's approach to nuclear facility concealment draws inspiration from an ancient Chinese proverb: "The clever rabbit has 3 burrows." The foundation of this strategy lies in Iran's unique geography. The Zagros mountain range, stretching over 1,500 kilometers across western Iran, consists of thick limestone formations and naturally deep rock structures. These geological conditions are identical to those that made Qanat construction possible thousands of years ago. Limestone, the dominant rock type in these regions, offers specific advantages for subterranean facilities. It is hard enough to maintain structural integrity without extensive reinforcement, yet soft enough to be excavated with conventional equipment. More importantly, limestone formations often contain natural cavities and water channels that can be expanded and connected, reducing the amount of new excavation required and making construction activities harder to detect from surface disturbances. Modern ground-penetrating radar satellites, while sophisticated, face fundamental physical limitations. Radar signals attenuate rapidly as they pass through rock, with effectiveness dropping dramatically beyond 30 to 50 meters in dense formations. Iran's suspected nuclear facilities, built at depths of 80 to 300 meters, exist well beyond the effective range of this technology. Even more problematic for surveillance efforts is the presence of natural underground water within the Qanat systems and surrounding aquifers. Water absorbs and scatters radar signals far more effectively than solid rock. A facility built near or integrated with a Qanat system benefits from a natural radar shadow, created by the water-saturated rock surrounding it. This isn't a design countermeasure, but an inherent property of the geology that makes the region suitable for Qanats in the first place. Intelligence analysts have documented Iran's construction of thousands of fake tunnel entrances designed to resemble ancient Qanat wells. These decoys are strategically positioned across regions known to contain genuine Qanats, creating a needle-in-a-haystack problem for reconnaissance systems. Each potential entrance must be investigated, yet the vast majority lead nowhere or connect to genuine agricultural water systems. The cost of investigating every suspicious shaft would be prohibitive, while ignoring them risks missing actual military facilities. Thermal imaging satellites represent another critical surveillance tool that Iran's strategy appears designed to defeat. Nuclear facilities, particularly those housing centrifuge cascades for uranium enrichment, generate substantial waste heat. Under normal circumstances, this heat creates a distinctive infrared signature visible from space, even when facilities are buried underground. However, the integration of Qanat-based cooling systems fundamentally changes this thermal equation. The result is no detectable thermal anomaly at the facility location itself. The depth of these facilities adds protection beyond detection. Simultaneously, destruction becomes extremely difficult. Even when the United States or Israel identifies a suspected nuclear site, neutralizing it poses major challenges. Conventional bunker-buster bombs have limited penetration capability. The GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, the largest bunker buster in the U.S. arsenal, can penetrate about 60 meters of reinforced concrete, or roughly 40 meters of solid rock under ideal conditions. Many Iranian facilities are built 80 to 300 meters underground, far beyond the reach of even this weapon. Destroying them would require multiple strikes using the heaviest ordnance, delivered with extreme precision to the same impact point. Achieving this against defended targets is extremely difficult. Even then, the deepest chambers might remain intact because the surrounding rock absorbs and disperses explosive force. Past strikes on Iranian nuclear sites illustrate these limits. Attacks on the Fordow facility, buried about 90 meters beneath a mountain, damaged surface structures and upper tunnel sections, but the condition of deeper underground halls remained uncertain due to the limits of satellite observation. Assessing destruction inside heavily buried facilities is inherently difficult. Locating facilities is further complicated by Iran's use of decoys and misdirection. Intelligence reports describe elaborate fake sites designed to attract attention and waste expensive munitions. These decoys can include tunnel entrances, electrical infrastructure, security perimeters, and artificial heat signatures that mimic operational activity. Distinguishing real facilities from convincing decoys requires extensive intelligence and often remains uncertain. Iran also disperses nuclear activities across multiple locations rather than concentrating them in a single facility. This distribution means that even successful strikes on known sites such as Natanz or Fordow would not necessarily eliminate the broader program. Geography and historical infrastructure also play important roles. Iranian engineers have deep knowledge of local geology and underground systems developed over centuries. Modern excavation technology allows expansion of existing tunnels, including parts of the ancient Qanat network, creating hybrid underground structures that combine old passages with modern construction. Some sections appear centuries old, while newer expansions remain concealed deeper in the network. By combining underground construction, dispersal, decoys, and knowledge of local terrain, Iran creates a defensive system that complicates detection, targeting, and destruction using conventional military power. Beyond the documented facts of Qanot technology and confirmed underground construction, a realm of speculation and unverified claims has emerged regarding Iran's potential exploitation of ancient hydraulic systems for nuclear concealment. These claims lack definitive proof, but are based on technically plausible ideas that merit examination, even as evidence remains limited. One hypothesis is known as thermal ghosting. It proposes that cold groundwater from Qanot systems could be channeled around reactors or centrifuge halls to absorb waste heat before it reaches the surface and becomes visible to infrared satellites. Supporters of this theory note that traditional Persian engineering already demonstrated advanced thermal management. Structures such as Ab Anbar reservoirs and Yakchal ice houses used evaporative cooling, insulation, and thermal mass to regulate temperatures centuries ago. Applying similar principles to modern underground facilities would represent an extension of established knowledge, rather than a completely new invention. Some claims extend the concept further, suggesting the system could operate in reverse during winter. In that scenario, the same water channels might stabilize internal temperatures using the Earth's constant underground warmth. Maintaining a steady temperature year-round could reduce thermal fluctuations that satellites typically rely on to identify active facilities. A second hypothesis involves what some intelligence sources call a ghost transportation network. The theory suggests Iran may have converted abandoned or dried-up Qanot tunnels into underground routes for transporting sensitive materials. Given that the Qanot system extends for hundreds of thousands of kilometers across Iran, much of the infrastructure already exists. Underground transport would offer major strategic advantages. Missiles, nuclear materials, or equipment could move between facilities without appearing on surface roads where satellites could track them. Convoys that would normally remain visible for hours could instead enter tunnel systems and emerge far away, leaving no observable route. There are technical challenges. Traditional Qanot tunnels are typically only 1 to 2 meters in diameter, often just large enough for a person to pass through. Moving large equipment would require significant expansion. Some intelligence reports and defector accounts claim that certain tunnels have been widened to 4 to 5 meters, potentially allowing vehicle movement. The vertical shafts spaced along Qanot systems could also serve as access points. Materials could be lowered through these shafts and then transported horizontally through the tunnels. Because these shafts appear across rural Iran and are commonly associated with Qanot maintenance, activity around them might attract little attention. Unconfirmed reports further suggest that some expanded tunnels may include rail systems for moving heavy loads. Underground rail networks are widely used in mining and fall within Iran's technical capabilities. Such systems could transport materials quickly while remaining invisible to aerial surveillance, with any electrical infrastructure potentially disguised within ordinary rural power networks. A third hypothesis proposes the creation of electromagnetic exclusion zones around sensitive facilities. According to this idea, Iran may place electronic warfare equipment near Qanot shafts, using them as camouflage for jamming systems. When reconnaissance drones approach, strong electromagnetic interference could disrupt navigation and communications, forcing aircraft to withdraw or crash. Supporters cite incidents of U.S. drones malfunctioning over Iran, including the 2011 capture of an RQ-170 Sentinel. Iranian officials claimed electronic warfare caused the loss, though U.S. sources suggested mechanical failure. The event demonstrated that advanced drones can be vulnerable to electronic disruption. Qanot shafts could theoretically help focus jamming signals upward, while disguising equipment within historically common structures. Because these water systems are culturally significant and widely dispersed, positioning equipment near them might reduce the likelihood of preemptive strikes and allow overlapping surveillance denial zones. Critics note that large-scale jamming would likely be detected by signals intelligence satellites and might interfere with Iran's own communications. However, modern electronic warfare systems can produce highly directional interference, targeting specific aircraft while limiting broader electromagnetic signatures. Some related claims suggest Qanot shafts could contain passive acoustic sensors that detect approaching aircraft by engine noise. Such systems would provide early warning without emitting detectable signals, allowing jamming systems to activate only briefly. More speculative theories describe underground tunnel networks or facilities linked through expanded qanat systems. Satellite analysts have occasionally noted unexplained construction activity in remote regions with dense qanat networks, such as roads, electrical lines, or material deliveries without visible surface structures. These observations have multiple possible explanations, but are sometimes cited as circumstantial indicators of concealed underground development. Overall, these ideas remain largely unproven hypotheses. While the technologies involved are technically feasible, there is no confirmed evidence that Iran has implemented such systems on a large scale. The intersection of ancient Persian hydraulic engineering and modern nuclear concealment raises difficult questions for verification and intelligence analysis. Iran possesses one of the world's largest underground tunnel networks through its qanat systems, extending hundreds of thousands of kilometers and reaching depths of up to 300 meters. This infrastructure undeniably exists. The key question is whether it has been used for military concealment. However, the full scale of Iran's underground construction remains uncertain. Satellite imagery can detect excavation and soil removal, but cannot easily distinguish between new military tunnels and maintenance or expansion of existing qanat structures. If construction deliberately mimics traditional qanat techniques, the surface signatures can appear nearly identical. Verification through International Atomic Energy Agency inspections has been limited. Iran has frequently restricted access to certain locations, arguing they are military sites unrelated to nuclear work. While inspections have occasionally uncovered undeclared nuclear materials, inspectors have not reported discovering facilities hidden directly within qanat systems. Given the immense scale of the network, however, comprehensive inspection would be extremely difficult. Strategically, underground concealment offers clear advantages for a country facing technologically superior adversaries. Expanding tunnels and constructing hardened underground facilities may be far more cost-effective than attempting to build air defenses capable of stopping advanced air forces. Historical precedents, such as tunnel systems in Vietnam or North Korea, demonstrate how underground infrastructure can offset military disadvantages. Yet technical feasibility and strategic logic do not prove that large-scale concealment within qanat networks actually exists. Intelligence analysis must distinguish between what is possible and what is confirmed. Detecting hidden facilities across such a vast underground system is extremely difficult, while proving they do not exist is effectively impossible. The available evidence suggests Iran has invested heavily in underground protection for parts of its nuclear program. However, the most dramatic claims, such as vast hidden complexes integrated throughout the entire qanat network, remain unproven. What is clear is that deep underground construction continues to complicate monitoring, targeting, and verification in the modern satellite age. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Some police calls end in a warning or arrest. A woman chained to the floor. A traffic stop hiding an unimaginable secret.
Yeah, it's good. Oh! What the?
Let's explore.
Come in here, turn around. I'm trying to come. Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Police in Louisville, Kentucky responded after neighbors reported a woman calling for help. When officers arrived, the house was barricaded, forcing them to find another way inside. They discovered the woman restrained to the floor with a metal chain around her neck. Using an axe, officers freed her and learned that her former partner had restrained her in the bedroom and fled after an argument. Despite being held in place, she managed to kick the bedroom window out of its frame, allowing neighbors to hear her calls for help. And her former partner was arrested 2 days later.
This is my only time. If I don't get free now, I'm going to be dead.
While a woman in Kentucky was rescued in time, a police raid in Rotterdam, Netherlands, uncovered another troubling situation. Officers initially searched the building after receiving a tip about a possible illegal operation. Inside, they found a shipping container that had been converted into a soundproof room with a secured chair and various tools. Further inspection revealed a larger setup linked to a criminal group, including 6 additional containers used as confined spaces where several people had been held and questioned one at a time. Do you believe situations like this are more common than people realize? Or is this an extremely rare case? Comment and chat with me. It was a cold night in February 2017 when police officer Troy Tadlock, during a routine patrol in the U.S. state of Iowa, noticed a car with a broken brake light and attempted to pull it over. Instead of stopping, the vehicle sped away. When the car finally stopped, a woman jumped out and ran, but was quickly caught and arrested without resistance. Meanwhile, a man in the vehicle, Melvin Spencer, continued driving away. After being alerted, Deputy Mike Leston soon located the car, leading to a high-speed pursuit that ended in a snowdrift. At that point, Melvin Spencer began shooting toward the police vehicle. He was eventually taken into custody, while another man who fled on foot was found after a 2-hour search involving a SWAT team. After the dramatic incident, officers initially believed they had uncovered a major crime. However, it later emerged that the group had tried to escape simply to avoid a fine for the broken brake light. Melvin Spencer, who discharged 16 rounds during the encounter, was later sentenced to 25 years in prison for a serious violent offense. Emergency crews arrived at a chaotic scene where officers discovered the body of a young woman who had been severely burned, though no clear clues were initially found. A dog lingering nearby caught their attention, and a microchip scan identified the victim as a 26-year-old woman named Mandy. After the dog was taken to a shelter, a man claiming to be the owner tried to retrieve it while pretending to be Mandy on the phone. The man was later identified as Mandy's cousin, Derek, a repeat offender, and when he arrived to pick up the dog, police arrested him. He later admitted to being responsible for her death and for starting the fire. During a routine patrol on Interstate 70 in Ohio on March 22, 2024, Sergeant Timothy Williamson stopped a rental box truck for unsafe driving in the rain. The driver, Andrea Castaneda Rodriguez, gave inconsistent answers about traveling from Arizona to Pennsylvania, raising suspicion. Officers noticed a strong scent of air freshener and a cut-resistant lock on the cargo door, so they deployed a detection dog. A search of the truck uncovered about 110 pounds of illegal narcotics packed into 50 parcels, with an estimated street value of roughly $1.75 million. Andrea admitted she had been recruited 2 weeks earlier to transport the shipment from Arizona to New York for $50,000. She was later charged with serious drug-related offenses and faced up to 25 years in prison and a fine of up to $50,000. A Columbus police officer stopped a 23-year-old driver named Brian after noticing erratic driving and signs that he was struggling to stay awake. When Brian began losing consciousness, the officer suspected a serious medical emergency and called for medical assistance. She administered Narcan while additional officers arrived to help. After several doses, Brian slowly regained consciousness and identified himself. He was later taken to a nearby hospital, though no further updates about his condition were reported. During a traffic stop in Arizona, a Navajo County Sheriff's deputy pulled over 32-year-old Raul Arellano Romero for an obstructed view caused by items hanging from his rearview mirror. A girl hiding under a blanket in the vehicle raised suspicion, especially as Raul gave inconsistent answers about who she was and how long they had known each other. When questioned separately, the girl first claimed to be older, but later admitted she was a 13-year-old who had been reported missing from Alabama. Investigators later learned Raul had previously traveled with her across several states after meeting her through online games. He was arrested and returned to Alabama, where he faced a felony charge related to custody interference that carries a sentence of up to 10 years. In July 2022, a New Mexico State Police sergeant stopped a pickup truck after noticing it weaving across lanes on Interstate 25. Inside were 6 young passengers, whose ages quickly raised concern when the driver, Jeremy Guthrie, gave inconsistent answers about them.
And then you have a bunch of kids in the car. How many kids? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who are these kids to you?
When questioned, several of the passengers revealed they were teenagers, with one as young as 14. Officers contacted their parents and determined the driver was unsafe to operate the vehicle. Guthrie was arrested for driving under the influence and other charges related to the situation involving the minors. A later investigation uncovered additional serious criminal activity connected to the case, and in August 2024, he was sentenced to 36 years in prison. On July 29, 2020, Louisiana State Troopers stopped 18-year-old Michael Mitchell Jr. for speeding. During the stop, officers noticed bullet holes in the car and learned that the vehicle's owner had been reported missing. After searching the trunk, they found the deceased, 23-year-old Michael Robinson Jr. Mitchell was arrested and initially blamed another man, but later changed this story several times. After the investigation and court proceedings, he was convicted in connection with Robinson's death and sentenced to 25 years in prison. On April 5, 2024, Sergeant Ryan Owens stopped 60-year-old Charles Legault for driving a pickup truck with a license plate that did not belong to the vehicle. During the stop, Owens found drug-related items and began searching the truck. About 8 minutes later, a homemade device inside the vehicle suddenly went off, releasing chemicals that caused the deputy to experience breathing difficulties.
Yeah, it's good. Whoa! What the?
Despite the exposure, Owens called for backup and arrested Legault. A later search of the truck uncovered more than 30 grams of illegal narcotics, along with firearms, ammunition, and a prohibited suppressor. Legault was charged with multiple serious offenses and, under Florida law, faced more than 2 decades in prison. A Springfield Township police officer stopped a driver after discovering she had a suspended license and an active warrant. During the stop, the officer noticed her pet raccoon, Chewy, playing with an item associated with illegal substances inside the car. The unusual situation quickly drew attention, and officers secured the animal while continuing the investigation. The driver, Victoria, was later charged with a felony related to illegal substances, multiple paraphernalia-related offenses, and driving under suspension, charges that could bring up to 3 years in prison and fines of up to $10,000. In Vincennes, Indiana, Trooper Buchanan stopped 51-year-old John Albert McKee after spotting him driving a child's battery-powered Power Wheels Jeep along a public road at night without lights or reflectors. Concerned about safety, the trooper conducted sobriety tests, which McKee failed. He was taken to a hospital for chemical testing, which indicated impairing substances in his system. Because of a prior offense, the charge was elevated to a felony, and he faced at least 6 months in county jail. 2 years ago, a man in Wisconsin heard strange noises coming from his attic and called the police to investigate. Officers searched the dusty attic, but initially found nothing and were about to leave. Moments later, the homeowner discovered a man hiding under the insulation, and police returned to arrest him.
I just told him, come here.
Turn around.
I'm trying to come here.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
The man was later identified as a suspect who had fled a nearby violent incident and hidden in the attic. The next clip, recorded by an Arkansas police dashcam in 2005, shows a sudden industrial accident. As the officer reverses his vehicle, a massive explosion occurs nearby. The incident happened after 2 trains collided in a rail yard, one carrying propylene, a highly flammable compressed gas. The leaking gas formed a drifting fog that spread through the area and eventually seeped into a nearby house, where a furnace pilot light ignited it, triggering a powerful chain reaction. The event was so serious that 3,000 residents were forced to leave their homes, and the officer narrowly avoided being caught in the explosion by reversing in time. During a flash flood in Escambia County, Florida, Deputy William Hollingsworth was helping stranded drivers when he saw a man step out of his car and disappear beneath the floodwater. Hollingsworth immediately rushed to help, but both men were suddenly pulled into a storm drain and swept through a dark pipe beneath Highway 98. Submerged in the rushing water for nearly 30 seconds, they were eventually carried out the other end and survived the incident. Shaken but relieved, the deputy checked on the driver, grateful that the dangerous situation ended with both of them safe. In 2016, police in Menasha, Wisconsin, responded to reports of people chasing cars during the early hours of October 7th. When officers arrived, they encountered two individuals dressed as clowns who were attempting to scare passing drivers. Although no weapons were found, one man was arrested after police discovered he had left his 4-year-old child home alone while carrying out the prank. In 2018, Frederick, Colorado police searched a home connected to the disappearance of a mother and her children shortly before the children's father was taken into custody. While officers and a K-9 unit examined the house, body cam footage appeared to show a faint figure resembling a small girl moving down the stairs, though it may have been a camera artifact. Later, officers also heard a strange sound that resembled a child's laugh, which they could not trace to any source, and briefly wondered if it came from the attic. A search revealed nothing, and it was later confirmed that the family was not in the home. Only afterward did the unexplained moments in the footage seem particularly unusual. In August 2023, a powerful wildfire spread through North Spokane County, Washington. The footage shows Deputy Britton Morgan navigating the dangerous conditions while helping guide civilians to safety. As flames crossed the road, he urged people in the area to evacuate quickly and avoid the approaching fire. Some residents initially hesitated to leave, including one man who stayed behind to protect his horses, but the fast-moving fire eventually forced him to evacuate as well. Deputy Morgan later checked on him, showing concern for his safety and the difficult situation. Thanks to the efforts of Morgan and other emergency workers, the area was eventually cleared of residents and the fire was brought under control after about a month. However, the disaster still destroyed 126 homes, many animals, and claimed one human life. Sometimes police work requires quick reactions and a bit of luck, as this next dashcam clip shows. During a traffic stop in New Jersey, an officer narrowly avoids a dangerous moment when a white car suddenly speeds past and nearly hits both the patrol vehicle and the officer. The footage captures the officer stepping out of the way just in time as the tires screech along the highway. It's a clear example of how quickly situations can change during roadside stops. In this body cam style video, two officers respond after a resident returns home to find her front door unexpectedly open. Inside the house, the officers hear knocking sounds behind closed doors with no clear source. As they move upstairs, one door appears to open on its own while they continue calling out to see if anyone is inside. The footage also shows several camera glitches that add to the unusual atmosphere. The video ends without much reaction from the officers. However, the clip later circulated online as real footage, but further research revealed it was actually a short film created by filmmaker Julien Petit, who did an impressive job making it look realistic. A home in Puerto Montt, Chile, was evacuated by police after many neighbors called to report unusual disturbances. The residents said they heard unexplained noises in the house, saw small fires start unexpectedly, and noticed objects moving without a clear cause. While officers were at the scene, they recorded an unusual moment in which a frying pan appeared to be thrown from the empty house. Police reports later described several other strange incidents. One officer said an object, believed to be a knife, struck the back of his protective vest, and another reported seeing a blanket briefly catch fire. It remains unclear whether the events were caused by a hidden person in the house or something that was simply misunderstood. What do you think might explain it? While the officers in the previous case remained surprisingly calm, the next clip shows a different reaction when police responded to a call near a graveyard. During the recording, a loud shriek can be heard somewhere in the distance, which led to many online discussions about its source. Some viewers believe the sound came from a TikTok prank video, reportedly featuring creator David Lawson's grandmother reacting to the darkness. Others suggest it may have been produced by an Aztec death whistle, like the one shown in another clip. There are also claims that, in the original footage, officers may have been reacting to possible gunfire, although the full video is no longer widely available. Whatever the explanation, the sound remains unusual and has sparked plenty of debate online. During a routine security patrol in Houston, Texas, a security officer had a strange moment while being monitored by a colleague in the control room. The officer appeared to be speaking with someone near a door and told dispatch he was talking to a woman named Miss Abigail, who was looking for Mr. Griffin. However, the dispatcher reported that no one was visible on the camera in front of him and noted that a person with that name had passed away 2 years earlier. The clip quickly spread online in 2023. While it could potentially be staged, there has been no official confirmation, leaving viewers to debate what might have happened in the footage. Next is CCTV footage reportedly recorded at an Illinois hotel in 2003. In the video, a security officer investigates reports of loud noises coming from a room that was believed to be vacant. After entering the room, the officer reports over the radio that no one is inside, but several unusual details stand out, including overturned furniture, a running shower, and sections of carpet that appear to have been pulled up. Some viewers believe they can see a faint figure leaving the room as the officer enters, which led to speculation online about what might have happened. However, there are also reasons to question the clip. The footage was originally shared by a filmmaker known for producing paranormal-themed content, and despite being said to come from 2003, the video appears to be recorded in high definition, which was uncommon for security cameras at the time. Because of these details, many viewers believe the clip may be staged, though opinions remain divided. In 2021, police officers in Seattle approached a woman walking through the streets whose unusual appearance quickly drew attention. As officers tried to speak with her, she appeared disoriented and did not respond clearly to their questions. Paramedics were called to the scene and eventually assisted in taking her to the hospital after she repeatedly said she did not want to go. Later, it was revealed that the woman's appearance was actually the result of detailed special effects makeup created by Kimberly Kasai, who later became known online as the Seattle Zombie. The stunt was reportedly intended as a protest related to COVID-19 vaccinations, although the incident quickly spread online because of how realistic the makeup looked. In March 2018, Staten Island officers Kyle Erickson and Elmer Pastrin stopped a car for a broken taillight and said they smelled marijuana. They ordered the occupants out and detained passenger Jason Serrano, who had recently undergone abdominal surgery after he refused consent to search his jacket. As Serrano lay on the sidewalk in pain, officers searched his belongings, but initially reported finding nothing. Body cam footage later appeared to show Erickson placing marijuana into Serrano's jacket, after which the officers celebrated. The cameras were then turned off, and officers later reported finding additional illegal substances. Serrano spent 5 days handcuffed to a hospital bed and accepted a plea deal after being unable to afford bail. Nearly 3 years later, a judge reviewed the footage and overturned the conviction. Despite this, the department did not discipline the officers. Pastrin remained on the force, while Erickson retired with full benefits in 2022. In a scene that feels like something from a science fiction movie, this footage from Atlanta shows a new approach to police operations. Officers first use a remote device to open the door to an apartment. Then, a small drone enters the unit and scans the area while officers monitor the situation from outside. After locating the suspect, officers instruct him to come out, and he eventually surrenders without anyone being injured. The method allowed police to resolve the situation while reducing risk to everyone involved. While the technology appears effective, it also raises questions about how tools like drones may shape the future of policing. In 2021, the Whitehall Police Department in Ohio received reports of a man possibly impersonating a police officer. Witnesses had seen a vehicle parked at an intersection displaying red and blue lights, prompting an officer to investigate. During the conversation, the man gave inconsistent explanations about his employment and whether he was currently a police officer. When asked for identification, he was unable to provide valid credentials, and the badge he had displayed was determined not to be official. Officers later searched his vehicle and discovered several items associated with law enforcement, including a tactical vest, handcuffs, pepper spray, and multiple firearms. He was taken into custody and later faced felony charges related to impersonating a police officer and improper handling of a firearm. In Collin County, Texas, at the Allen Premium Outlets Mall, an officer responded when reports of gunfire began coming from the area. As people moved away from the scene, the officer quickly advanced through the mall while coordinating with dispatch and other responders. He located the suspect and stopped the threat before additional officers arrived. Because of YouTube guidelines, the full footage cannot be shown here, but the incident highlights the fast response from law enforcement during a dangerous situation. In 2022, the Jackson Police Department in Georgia received a report about a man screaming, and Officer Diana Sanchez and her partner were sent to investigate. As they searched the building, they heard shouting and possible gunfire from inside. During the encounter, Officer Sanchez became temporarily trapped upstairs and took cover in a bathroom before escaping through a window to regroup with her partner. Additional units later arrived, and a standoff with the suspect continued for about 16 hours before the man was taken into custody. If you'd like to see more police-related content, check out my other video about some of the surprising tactics officers use in their daily work. And as always, thanks for watching. Spotlights hide a lot: wrinkles, blemishes, and in some cases, bad hygiene. Some of Hollywood's biggest stars are rumored to have scents so unpleasant, they've become a running joke behind the scenes. From stubbornly avoiding deodorant to outright refusing to shower, these 22 celebrities might just change the way you think about fame. Let's start. Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow may have sailed the seven seas, but the character's rugged look reportedly extended to Depp's on-set approach as well. Depp has spoken about wanting to capture what he called an authentic pirate essence, sometimes letting his hair, teeth, and costume appear rougher during the filming of Pirates of the Caribbean. According to behind-the-scenes anecdotes, Orlando Bloom, who filmed many close sword-fighting scenes with Depp, would occasionally have an assistant spray air freshener between takes. The costume department also reportedly stopped frequently cleaning Depp's coat, feeling the worn look added character, though the wardrobe trailer was said to be aired out nightly with large fans. Years later, during the filming of The Tourist, similar stories circulated about Depp maintaining a very relaxed approach to grooming while staying in character. Some on-set reports suggested that during romantic scenes, Angelina Jolie occasionally offered him mints or breath strips between takes. The film's intimacy coordinator later revealed they had to reshoot several kissing scenes after Jolie's facial expressions in the dailies showed unmistakable disgust that CGI couldn't fix. But Johnny Depp isn't the only star whose behind-the-scenes habits surprised fans. Megan Fox has joked in interviews about having messy habits at home, including sometimes forgetting to flush the toilet, which she said could frustrate roommates or partners. Her ex-husband, Brian Austin Green, once shared that he tried to address the issue by posting reminders and installing automatic toilets, though Fox reportedly disabled the sensors because the noise startled her. Other behind-the-scenes anecdotes describe her relaxed approach to household order, with towels, dishes, and clothing sometimes left around the house. During the filming of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, crew members reportedly brought in extra help to keep her trailer organized, and Fox later joked that while her beauty routine might be flawless, her living routine definitely was not. Did Megan Fox's confession surprise you, or do you think everyone has messy habits at home? Comment and chat with me. It's surprising to think that Jennifer Lawrence, known as America's sweetheart, could ever be associated with being smelly, but during the filming of The Hunger Games, her co-stars had a very different experience. Lawrence had a habit of eating foods with strong odors, like garlic or tuna, right before filming kissing scenes. This made the experience far less pleasant for her co-stars. Liam Hemsworth, who played Gale, admitted he didn't look forward to those moments. He joked about how his best friend would always taste like her lunch, making it hard to keep things professional. It left everyone wondering if Jennifer did it as a playful prank or to keep any romantic feelings off the set. Josh Hutcherson, who played PETA, also shared similar complaints. While Jennifer's humor and laid-back personality make her lovable, even her closest co-stars found this habit a little too much. But strong food smells are nothing compared to the beauty routine the next Hollywood icon reportedly tried. Tom Cruise's youthful appearance has often sparked curiosity about his skincare routine. One widely discussed treatment in celebrity beauty circles is the so-called geisha facial, a spa treatment that uses ingredients derived from nightingale droppings, traditionally used in Japanese skincare for exfoliation. The treatment, which can cost several $100s per session at luxury spas, has also been mentioned by celebrities such as Victoria Beckham. According to various reports and beauty industry stories, Cruise has shown interest in unusual skincare treatments in the past. Some anecdotes from spa professionals describe the process as a relaxing facial treatment where clients remain still while the product works on the skin. Whether or not such treatments contribute to his youthful appearance, Cruise continues to be known for maintaining a remarkably ageless look throughout his long career. Clark Gable, one of Hollywood's greatest stars, had a secret that wasn't as glamorous as his on-screen charm. The leading man from Gone with the Wind struggled with something unexpected. The famous kissing scene between Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind is one of the most unforgettable moments in film history. But for Vivien Leigh, who played Scarlett, the experience was far from romantic. In an interview, she revealed that Gable's dentures smelled so bad that it made kissing him incredibly difficult. This problem started in 1933 when Gable developed a serious gum infection that led to the removal of most of his teeth. By the age of 32, he had to wear dentures, and unfortunately, they left him with halitosis, or bad breath, that was tough for anyone to ignore. Despite the uncomfortable kissing scenes, Vivien Leigh and Clark Gable got along well on set as long as their lips weren't meeting. Their professional relationship and incredible acting skills made sure the audience never suspected anything was wrong. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis surprised many parents when they shared their relaxed approach to bathing, saying they often skip baths if visible dirt is not present. Kutcher has mentioned that he mainly washes key areas daily, while the rest of his body gets less attention. The couple has said they follow a similar philosophy with their children, Wyatt and Dimitri, believing frequent bathing can remove natural oils. Kunis has explained that growing up in Ukraine without reliable hot water shaped her habits, which differ from the more common expectation of daily showers in the United States. Their comments sparked widespread discussion among parents and experts about children's hygiene routines, though the couple has continued to treat the topic lightheartedly. Sandra Bullock's medicine cabinet holds a secret that would make most people do a double take. The Academy Award winner swears by hemorrhoid cream as her go-to eye treatment, dabbing the same ointment meant for very different body parts directly under her Hollywood-famous eyes. She discovered this trick while filming Miss Congeniality when a makeup artist noticed her puffy morning eyes and pulled out what Bullock initially thought was expensive eye cream. "I didn't know using butt cream on your face was a thing in the beauty industry, but it actually works," she confessed during a candid interview, laughing at her own revelation. The cream's anti-inflammatory properties, designed to reduce swelling in sensitive areas, work just as effectively on under-eye bags. Her makeup team now stocks Preparation H right next to the premium serums, though they've learned to label it discreetly after visiting celebrities who nearly fainted upon seeing the tube. The technique has become so integral to the red carpet prep that she once panicked before the Oscars when her assistant forgot to pack her special cream. A frantic pharmacy run ensued with her team clearing out 3 different stores' supplies. While other actresses drop thousands on Swiss cellular treatments, Bullock gets her camera-ready look from a $7 tube found in the most embarrassing aisle of any drugstore. Britney Spears captured global attention with chart-topping hits and iconic performances, but stories about her personal habits have occasionally surfaced in the media. In 2011, her former bodyguard, Fernando Flores, filed a lawsuit that included claims about Spears' personal hygiene and daily routines. According to his allegations, she sometimes appeared around cigarette smoke and occasionally skipped parts of her grooming routine. These claims contrast with the polished image seen in her music videos and public appearances. Spears has also been photographed walking barefoot in public places, including a widely circulated 2004 paparazzi photo taken at a Los Angeles gas station. Behind the scenes, some reports suggested that members of her team developed practical ways to manage busy performance schedules, such as relying on quick styling fixes like dry shampoo and perfume before shows. Gwyneth Paltrow's last appearance at the Met Gala was memorable, but not for the reasons you'd expect. The actress reportedly caused a bit of a stir due to her strong odor, which left some guests visibly uncomfortable. According to the National Enquirer, several attendees were seen subtly wafting the air around them to avoid the smell, while Gwyneth appeared unaware of their reactions. The likely cause of the issue? A switch in deodorant. A friend of Paltrow's explained that she had been experimenting with aluminum-free deodorants because she believed regular aluminum-based options might increase the risk of cancer. While her intentions were rooted in health concerns, the transition to natural alternatives didn't always go smoothly. Her friend admitted she was bound to fail with some of them. Brad Pitt might look like the picture of perfection, but his hygiene habits tell a different story, especially when he's on set. While filming movies like Fury and Inglourious Basterds, people working with him noticed that Pitt wasn't exactly the freshest person to be around. He wasn't a fan of traditional showers and opted for a more unconventional method. Eli Roth, who co-starred with Pitt in Inglourious Basterds, revealed that Pitt preferred using baby wipes instead of showering. Pitt even suggested Roth try it, claiming it was faster and more convenient than stepping into his trailer for a proper cleanup. While practical, this method left much to be desired when it came to his overall smell. On the bright side, Pitt's less-than-perfect hygiene saved the makeup department time. They didn't need to add much dirt to make him look gritty and rugged on screen. The funniest part? Despite his own questionable habits, Pitt once gave Angelina Jolie breath mints because he thought her breath could use some help. Talk about irony. Why do celebrities sometimes experiment with unusual beauty routines? Just when it seems like every trend has been tried, Jersey Shore star Snooki shared one of her most surprising skincare tips, using clean cat litter as a DIY facial ingredient. Instead of an expensive spa product, Snooki once explained that she experimented with unused kitty litter as part of a homemade exfoliating treatment. She clarified that it must always be a fresh, unopened product, and not anything that has been used. With her usual sense of humor, she emphasized the importance of keeping it completely clean. Snooki even joked with fans about trying the idea themselves by buying an extra bag specifically for skincare. While it may sound unusual compared with traditional beauty products, the story quickly became one of the more surprising celebrity beauty tips shared online. Christina Aguilera shocked everyone with a habit that is both unhygienic and downright gross. She reportedly doesn't wash her hands after using the bathroom. It's something even children are taught to do, but the pop star seems to think it's unnecessary. This bizarre revelation came to light when a bathroom attendant allegedly witnessed Christina skipping the sink after using the toilet. The attendant, stunned by what she saw, shared that the singer simply walked out of the restroom without washing up. What made things worse was that Christina reportedly went back to her table at a restaurant and continued eating her meal with those same unwashed hands. The thought of eating without washing after such a visit to the restroom is enough to make anyone feel uneasy. To top it off, fans approached her during the meal for handshakes, which she obliged. Little did they know they were shaking hands with someone who had just skipped basic hygiene. One can only hope none of her fans got sick afterward. Jake Gyllenhaal sparked discussion on social media after telling Vanity Fair that he believes daily showers can be unnecessary. The Oscar-nominated actor explained that excessive washing may remove beneficial bacteria and natural oils from the skin. He said he still maintains important grooming habits, such as proper dental care, while taking a more relaxed approach to frequent showering. Gyllenhaal has also mentioned that during the preparation for Nightcrawler, he noticed his skin seemed healthier when he showered less often. His comments led to wider conversations online about different views on hygiene and skincare. In interviews promoting Spider-Man: Far From Home, co-star Tom Holland simply described Gyllenhaal as bringing intense authenticity to their scenes. Gyllenhaal later suggested that expectations around daily bathing can vary by culture, noting that habits differ in different parts of the world. Shia LaBeouf is known for his intense method-acting approach, and during the filming of Fury, he reportedly tried to stay deeply in character as a World War II tank gunner. According to various interviews and behind-the-scenes stories, LaBeouf aimed to recreate the difficult conditions soldiers experienced, including limiting certain comforts during production. The film required long days of filming inside a cramped tank set alongside co-stars such as Brad Pitt, John Bernthal, and Michael Pena, which made the experience particularly demanding for the cast and crew. LaBeouf has often spoken about fully committing to roles in order to capture authentic emotions and performances. Similar dedication has been mentioned in connection with other projects, including the music video for Sia's Elastic Heart, where he worked closely with dancer Maddie Ziegler to portray the video's intense emotional themes. His immersive acting style has frequently sparked discussion about the lengths some performers go to while preparing for roles. Cameron Diaz has spoken in interviews about her preference for a more natural approach to personal care, including avoiding certain antiperspirants because she believes they can interfere with the body's natural processes. She has also mentioned that she likes wearing denim for long periods, saying that jeans often feel more comfortable after they are broken in. Her relaxed approach to everyday routines has occasionally been the subject of lighthearted jokes among colleagues during film productions. While working on projects such as Charlie's Angels and The Other Woman, co-stars and crew members have sometimes commented humorously on the challenges of maintaining costumes and continuity during busy filming schedules. Diaz herself has treated these stories playfully, presenting them as part of her laid-back lifestyle and personal preferences. Julia Roberts has occasionally spoken about preferring a more natural and environmentally conscious lifestyle. In interviews, the Pretty Woman star has mentioned trying to reduce water use and taking a relaxed approach to frequent washing, saying she believes natural oils can be beneficial for hair and skin. Her laid-back philosophy toward personal routines has sometimes been the subject of lighthearted discussion in the media and among colleagues on film sets. While working on projects such as Eat, Pray, Love, crew members joked about how well her natural style fit the film's spiritual and travel-focused themes. Roberts has generally treated these stories with humor, describing her approach as part of her broader interest in simple living and environmental awareness. Shailene Woodley is known for embracing a holistic lifestyle that includes natural remedies, herbal supplements, and essential oils. She has often spoken in interviews about using traditional herbs, clay-based products, and other natural practices that she believes help her stay balanced and healthy. During the filming of The Spectacular Now, Woodley's wellness routine occasionally became a lighthearted topic among cast and crew. Her co-star Miles Teller has mentioned that her herbal drinks and wellness habits were unique compared with typical on-set routines. Woodley has also shared her enthusiasm for practices such as essential oils and oil pulling, which she views as part of her broader approach to natural health. Her strong interest in natural products has sometimes stood out in the fashion and entertainment world, but Woodley has remained open about her commitment to holistic living, often saying that these habits help her stay grounded despite the pressures of Hollywood. Robert Pattinson, the iconic vampire heartthrob, has openly admitted that keeping up with his hygiene isn't his strong suit. His perfectly messy bed head isn't the result of hair products, but simply days of unwashed hair coated in natural oils. Pattinson has confessed that he often skips showers and doesn't even notice until he finally catches a whiff of himself. His hygiene habits were no secret on the Twilight set, where his co-stars mentioned that he often smelled unpleasant. Pattinson was known to either forget to shower entirely or keep wearing the same clothes for days until it became unbearable. On especially hectic days, he'd do both, avoiding a shower while recycling the same outfit, leading to some truly unfortunate situations. Pattinson joked about how bad he can be at self-care when life gets busy, but his relaxed attitude toward hygiene left a lasting impression on those around him. When it comes to Post Malone, there's a common assumption that he might not have the nicest scent. Fans often take one look at him and jump to conclusions. There was even a rumor that his manager quit because of how much he smelled, which added fuel to the fire. Some fans even suggested that he could use some tips from the Queer Eye team. However, Post Malone seems to take it all in stride. Despite the rumors, he maintains that he doesn't actually smell bad, but he does have a natural musk. He's open about the fact that he doesn't wear deodorant, which means he always has a natural scent, whether people like it or not. Bradley Cooper has spoken in interviews about maintaining a strict hygiene routine that includes multiple showers a day, especially when he is training or working long hours on set. The actor has also said he prefers to avoid certain deodorants because he believes some products may interfere with the body's natural balance. Instead, he focuses on frequent showers and regular grooming as part of his daily routine. Co-stars and interviewers have occasionally joked about Cooper's detailed personal habits during press tours and film promotions. During the filming of Silver Linings Playbook, Jennifer Lawrence once joked about giving him a crystal deodorant stone as a playful gift. Despite the lighthearted teasing, Cooper has continued to emphasize that his approach is simply his personal preference for maintaining comfort and routine during busy filming schedules. Zac Efron is known for his amazing six-pack abs and strong body, but there's a funny side to his workout habits. While he works out a lot and sweats to stay fit, it seems he doesn't always take a shower afterward. People who have worked with Zac say that he doesn't shower much, even after a hard gym session. So when you see him looking all muscular and sweaty in movies like Baywatch, it might be real, and he might even smell a bit. This habit has definitely been noticed by those around him. One embarrassing moment happened during a kissing scene on set. Right before the scene, Zac ate a tuna sandwich, and his co-star immediately noticed the smell. She didn't hold back and called him out on it, making it a bit awkward for Zac. Luckily, he seems to have learned from that mistake and hasn't done it again. Kesha, the pop singer known for her bold and unconventional style, has openly shared some of her unique beauty practices that deviate from mainstream norms. One such habit is her infrequent hair washing. Kesha prefers to let her hair embrace its natural oils, believing that this approach promotes a more authentic and healthier look. By avoiding regular shampooing, she maintains the hair's natural texture and shine, steering clear of the potential damage caused by overwashing. In addition to her hair care routine, Kesha has experimented with more unconventional beauty treatments. Notably, she once drank her own urine during the filming of her MTV documentary series, Kesha, My Crazy Beautiful Life. This act was influenced by a friend's suggestion that urine consumption could have health benefits. In the documentary, Kesha is seen collecting and drinking her urine, a moment that sparked significant public reaction. She later reflected on the experience, acknowledging that it was a pretty gross endeavor and expressing regret over trying it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Snakes strike fear with their strength and vengeful strikes. But what happens when they pick the wrong fight? These shocking moments prove they're not always on top. Let's explore. A sea eagle catches a venomous sea snake from the water. These remarkable images show how efficient these birds are as hunters. The eagle spots the snake and swiftly descends toward the surface, diving with its talons open to seize the serpent. It rises back into full flight as the snake struggles in its grip, but the eagle remains composed. The snake coils several times and attempts to deliver a venomous bite, yet it cannot inject venom into the bird. The eagle subdues the snake and returns to its nestlings. Soon, the prey is prepared and fed to the hungry chicks, waiting with their upward tilted beaks. The secretary bird is an unusual and striking bird with long legs and surprisingly small feet. It is well known for its ability to hunt snakes and deal with them confidently. These birds are fearless and highly skilled when confronting a snake. Rather than using their beaks, secretary birds repeatedly stamp on the snake with powerful kicks, almost like a fast dance, until the reptile can no longer defend itself. Because of this talent, people in parts of Africa value these birds for helping keep farms and homes free of pests such as snakes and rodents. In addition to snakes, they also hunt other small animals, including rodents and lizards. Everyone knows that tegus are tough animals, but they are also remarkably fearless. They have thick, durable skin that offers strong protection, making them difficult for many predators to injure, even those with sharp teeth. Because of this resilience, many bites from other animals have little effect on them, and even a snake is not an easy threat. Tegus have biological adaptations that help them resist the neurotoxins found in some snake venom. This means that even if they are bitten while hunting, they can often continue feeding. Snakes can be an important part of their diet, just as they are for other resilient animals such as the honey badger, whose diet may include snakes as well. Did you already know that tegus can resist certain snake venom, or is this the first time you're hearing about it? Comment and chat with me. In Kruger National Park, South Africa, a leopard watches as a large python moves across the ground under the hot sun. The leopard observes patiently, appearing to consider how it might approach the large reptile. It may be protecting its cubs, defending its territory, or simply reacting to movement, much like a domestic cat would. The snake does not seem to notice the leopard at first. Suddenly, the cat leaps forward and strikes the snake with a powerful paw. The snake appears briefly stunned. The leopard approaches again and grips the snake before releasing it. The python quickly retreats toward the water, putting distance between itself and the watchful predator. Snakes swallow many kinds of prey, but fewer animals are willing to hunt them because of the risks involved. One surprising predator is the praying mantis. Although much smaller than most snakes, mantises sometimes target smaller species using stealth and speed. They remain perfectly still to blend into their surroundings, then strike with lightning-fast reflexes, catching the snake before it can react. With this combination of camouflage and rapid movement, the mantis can successfully subdue a snake despite the size difference. A mother cat can be extremely protective, combining strong maternal instincts with the quick reflexes typical of cats. As a large python moves across the sand toward the kittens, the mother cat quickly steps in. She strikes at the snake and makes herself appear larger and more threatening. At first, the snake continues moving forward, but the cat persistently confronts it, defending her young. After several tense moments, the snake decides to retreat and moves away in search of easier prey. Although alligators are among the most powerful predators in the Florida Everglades, they sometimes encounter another formidable reptile, the Burmese python. These pythons use Florida's wetlands as breeding grounds and often share the same habitat as American alligators. As a result, the two species occasionally come into contact, and interactions between them can be intense. Alligators may prey on pythons, while large adult pythons are capable of challenging even sizable alligators under certain conditions. Footage shows the large constrictor approaching several alligators underwater, but the encounters do not develop further as the alligators simply move away. Because pythons must coil around prey and hold it for some time to subdue it, taking on a large alligator would be difficult. In many cases, such a large reptile may simply be too ambitious a target, even for a powerful snake like the Burmese python. A mother bird confronts a snake after it approaches her chicks. The moment creates tension as she quickly returns to the nest to defend them. Cattle egret chicks chirp in their nest while the mother flies back and forth, bringing food and watching over them. Each time she returns, the chicks lift their small beaks, waiting for their meal. Suddenly, a small snake appears and moves toward the nest, disturbing the chicks. Just then, the mother bird returns and boldly drives the snake away from the nest. Realizing it cannot approach the chicks safely, the snake retreats, leaving the attentive mother to continue guarding her young. In an encounter between a squirrel and a venomous snake, the snake might seem like the obvious winner. But a mother squirrel protecting her babies can be surprisingly formidable. This moment shows how she uses agility and clever tactics to stay out of danger, even using her tail as a distraction while the snake repeatedly lunges and misses. Fearless and determined, she faces the threat head-on, relying on patience and strategy until the snake eventually moves on to search for easier prey. Finding a snake in your garden is probably not that unusual, but a massive 3.5-meter-long king cobra is no ordinary snake and definitely not a visitor you want to encourage to stick around. These two pet dogs decided they were not happy about the reptile entering their territory and took a very direct approach to encourage it to leave. The dogs, named Motown and Lenny, ran up to the snake and started barking loudly in an attempt to scare it away. But, as is common with large cobras, the snake stood its ground and reacted by making several defensive lunges toward the dogs. The king cobra's bite is extremely dangerous, so if a dog were bitten, it could be seriously harmed. This meant the pair was taking a big risk while trying to drive the snake away. Their owner mentioned that the dogs had chased snakes out of the garden before by distracting them and working together. However, on this occasion, the enormous snake was eventually handled by emergency services and reptile experts, who safely relocated it several kilometers away into the wilderness. Bobcats do not have any special immunity to rattlesnake venom, so it raises the question of why and how they interact so boldly with these snakes. In this video filmed in California, a bobcat shows just how agile and determined these animals can be when facing a large rattlesnake. The bobcat repeatedly bats at the snake while carefully avoiding its defensive strikes. Over time, the snake becomes exhausted, and the bobcat eventually secures it by the head and delivers a decisive bite. The wild feline then drags the snake up a hill before returning to roll around in the dusty ground nearby. If the bobcat was bitten during the encounter, it does not appear to show any immediate effects. Moments like this highlight how skilled bobcats can be when dealing with challenging wildlife encounters. Let's hope these dogs were not bitten by the king cobra, because although there is strength in numbers for the canine group, a snake bite could still be extremely dangerous for any of them. As pack animals, dogs are naturally well adapted to work together when facing a perceived threat. This group of dogs appears to have a strategy for dealing with challenging snakes like the king cobra. If a single dog encountered a king cobra alone, it would likely have a much harder time, but the dog's teamwork helps confuse the snake by drawing its attention in different directions. The snake, which might normally have the advantage in many encounters, repeatedly lunges toward one dog and then another, but each time a different dog moves in to distract it. This coordinated effort keeps the snake focused on multiple directions and prevents it from getting close to any one dog for long. Although the video was clearly filmed by a person, they appear calm about the situation, suggesting the encounter eventually ended without serious harm to the animals involved. A mother hen protects her chicks from a king cobra. Once again, a determined snake approaches a nest, but it quickly discovers that a protective mother is not easy to challenge. The snake appears to be searching for food and notices a group of small chicks nearby. However, it does not expect the fierce response of their mother. Brave and alert, the hen guides her chicks toward a safer place while standing between them and the snake. As the snake repeatedly moves closer, the mother hen spreads her wings, flaps, and keeps her attention focused on her while the chicks move away from danger one by one. It is an impressive display of instinct and determination. In the end, the snake is unable to reach the chicks, and the mother hen successfully keeps her family safe, showing that even a small bird can be remarkably courageous when protecting her young. The sidewinder snake is a venomous viper, also known as the horned rattlesnake. It is a remarkable desert reptile, and many animals prefer to avoid encountering one, especially at night. When tiny kangaroo rats come across these snakes, you might expect the small rodents to be easy targets. However, that is not always the case. Kangaroo rats have several impressive abilities that help them avoid danger from sidewinders. During several nights of observation in the desert, researchers recorded interactions between the two species and discovered that kangaroo rats rely on quick reactions and agile movements to stay safe. The kangaroo rat has long, springy hind legs, hence the name kangaroo, which helps it escape from predators. These powerful legs allow the rat to leap quickly out of the way of a snake's strike. Despite the snake's speed, the rat can sometimes react even faster, occasionally delivering a defensive kick while avoiding the bite. It is a fascinating example of how agility and timing can help a small animal survive in the desert. The big cat once again proves just how formidable wild felines can be. One of the biggest lessons here is that cats, whether wild or domestic, should never be underestimated. Their agility, sharp reflexes, and natural hunting instincts make them incredibly capable animals. When this large python encountered a leopard in Kenya's Masai Mara Reserve, it likely did not expect such a determined opponent. The snake put up a strong defense, and there were moments when the powerful constrictor seemed close to wrapping its coils around the leopard. However, the cat's speed, sharp claws, and quick reactions allowed it to avoid being trapped while keeping the snake at a distance. After several tense moments between the two animals, the leopard ultimately managed to break away and move off safely, bringing the encounter to an end. It is a striking reminder of how skill, agility, and awareness often decide the outcome in the wild. A woodpecker confronts a venomous snake while protecting its eggs. A small crimson-crested woodpecker faces a large, 3-meter-long snake near its nest, creating a tense moment in the forest. The snake repeatedly moves toward the bird, and the woodpecker endures several close encounters with the reptile. Each time, however, it regains its footing and stands its ground. Snakes sometimes approach nests in search of food, whether eggs or hatchlings. Despite its small size, the determined bird continues to defend the nest, pecking toward the snake and trying to keep it away. It is a striking example of parental instinct in the wild, showing how even small birds can display remarkable courage and persistence when protecting their young. A mother rabbit confronts a snake to protect her babies. When a snake approached her young, the normally gentle rabbit reacted immediately to defend them. The snake had begun to coil around the baby rabbits when their mother suddenly arrived. Although rabbits often appear small and harmless, they can be surprisingly bold when protecting their young. This type of snake may sometimes target small animals, so the situation initially seemed dangerous for the babies. However, the mother rabbit quickly leaped toward the snake, startling it and causing it to release the young rabbits. Rather than leaving right away, the determined mother continued to chase the snake away from the area, making sure it moved far from her nest. At one moment, the rabbit even leaps and kicks toward the snake while keeping it at a distance. In the end, the snake retreats, and the mother rabbit successfully keeps her babies safe. Australia is known for having a wide variety of unique wildlife, including some highly venomous snakes, such as the taipan. This species has extremely potent venom, which is why people and animals usually try to avoid encountering it in the wild. Because of this reputation, you might expect the snake to be a serious threat to most creatures. Surprisingly, however, some animals interact with it in unexpected ways. The green tree frog, for example, is known to feed on small reptiles and can sometimes prey on young snakes. In this unusual moment, a frog captures a small snake and begins to swallow it. Although the process can look surprising, it is simply part of the frog's natural feeding behavior. The frog calmly continues until the snake disappears, showing just how adaptable and opportunistic some amphibians can be when it comes to finding food. Hawk takes a very bold animal to confront a predator, especially a highly venomous snake like the black mamba. The venom of the black mamba is extremely potent, which is why many animals prefer to avoid encountering it in the wild. But what this little mongoose is doing seems surprising. There is likely a nearby nest that the small mammal is protecting from the snake. Even though the situation looks risky, mongooses are well known for their ability to deal with dangerous snakes and often manage to drive them away. They are especially quick and agile, which helps them avoid the snake's strikes during these encounters. In addition to their speed and reflexes, mongooses also have a natural resistance to certain snake venoms. This unique adaptation helps explain their confidence when facing snakes that many other animals would avoid. Large monitor lizards are bold predators and often show little hesitation when approaching other animals, even snakes that can deliver venomous bites. However, some snake venoms can still be dangerous to them, although certain monitor lizards are believed to have a level of resistance to rattlesnake venom. In this encounter, a large white-throated monitor lizard named Dino approaches a rattlesnake and carefully grabs it by the head. The snake attempts to pull free, but the lizard maintains a firm grip while keeping a safe distance from the fangs. After a short struggle, the lizard eventually gains control of the situation and begins to swallow the snake, which is typical feeding behavior for large monitor lizards. Despite the risks, the reptile appears calm and methodical as it finishes its meal. Weasels are fascinating animals, even though they are not usually thought of as especially intimidating. Unlike some species known for their size or strength, weasels rely more on speed, agility, and quick reactions. Because their name is sometimes used in pop culture to describe sneaky behavior, you might assume a weasel would avoid confronting a snake altogether. However, that is not always the case. In this video, a weasel and a snake are seen moving along a tree branch in a tense encounter, each reacting quickly to the other's movements. The weasel shows just how agile and determined it can be. Although the moment ends without a clear outcome, the encounter highlights how capable this small animal is at protecting itself. In other situations, weasels have been observed capturing snakes using precise movements that allow them to control the reptile safely. Afterward, they may carry the snake away to store it as food. This shows that despite their small size, weasels can handle surprisingly challenging prey, even venomous species. A snake seemed to have found an easy meal when it encountered a giant centipede, but the situation quickly took an unexpected turn. In this encounter, the centipede managed to overpower the snake instead. Giant centipedes are known for being bold predators and will sometimes challenge animals larger than themselves, including small snakes. They use venom delivered through specialized claws to subdue their prey, which allows them to handle animals that might otherwise appear dangerous. There have also been observations of giant centipedes capturing snakes near nesting areas. While these moments can look surprising, they are simply part of the complex food relationships found in nature. It is another reminder of how unpredictable wildlife interactions can be. You might think that snakes stay clear of hedgehogs for the same reason they avoid porcupines, the sharp quills that cover the hedgehog's body. While it is true that these spines make hedgehogs difficult for predators to handle, there is more to the story. Hedgehogs also have an unusual ability to tolerate certain types of venom. Many snakes rely on venom to subdue their prey, but hedgehogs are less affected by some venoms than other small animals. In some cases, they can even withstand bites from highly venomous species, such as king cobras or inland taipans. Scientists believe this resilience comes from special proteins in their bodies that help reduce the effects of venom. Hedgehogs are also known to tolerate substances that are harmful to many other animals. Despite these natural defenses, the snake in the video still approached the hedgehog, creating a tense moment. Although the clip ends before the interaction is resolved, it highlights just how remarkable the hedgehog's defenses can be. Finally, let's talk about foxes, which are known to hunt snakes, as shown in this video compilation. However, unlike animals such as possums or hedgehogs, foxes are not naturally resistant to snake venom. Because of this, they must rely on speed and careful timing to handle snakes while avoiding a bite. Foxes are agile and intelligent hunters, but a venomous bite can still be very dangerous for them. While some foxes may recover from such encounters, a bite can cause serious health problems. This is why foxes depend on quick reactions and precise movements when dealing with snakes. Their success often comes from staying fast and alert, using agility to control the situation before the snake can react. These encounters highlight how skill and caution play an important role for predators that interact with venomous animals in the wild. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked our content, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting content that is appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time! The sudden shutdown of airspace over El Paso,